Today, I have been given this topic voluntary liquidation as corporate exit route. As the name suggests, that liquidation of a corporate person voluntarily means by its own choice. That is called voluntary liquidation, and it is also the fundamental right of a citizen of India under Article 19(1)(g) of the Constitution of India, that right to practice any profession or to carry any occupation, trade, or business to all the citizen is subject to certain restrictions imposed by the state. So this right is given to exit to practice any profession or to carry any occupation or trade, but it is subject to certain restrictions, such as to obtain certain licenses, and you cannot do any unlawful activity. So similarly, the right to carry on a business also includes the right to close it. So whenever you want to close it, the business or the profession, then you have the right to close it, and the state cannot compel any citizen to run a business which is against his or her will. But as no right is absolute, the right to close the business is also not is not an absolute right. It is subject to certain restrictions. So first we need to understand the meaning of voluntary liquidation. That what is voluntary liquidation? Voluntary liquidation is self-imposed winding up and dissolution of the corporate person that has been approved by its shareholders, partners, contributors. Such a decision will happen once the organization's leadership decides that the company has no reason to continue. So this is a voluntary liquidation. It is decided by the shareholders, decided by the partners, decided by the contributors, that the corporate person will not continue, and it is not a compulsory winding up by the order of the court, because compulsory winding up by the order of the court is given under section 271 of the Companies Act 2013. But under IBC there are two types of liquidation, which is one is voluntary liquidation and other is simple liquidation. If the CIRP fails, then the NCLT orders for liquidation of the company. Now, the primary objective of the voluntary liquidation is to terminate all its operations, sell off all its assets, and dismantle its corporate structure, and to ensure that assets of the corporate person are distributed fairly among its creditors, shareholders in a systematic manner, while also promoting a swift and efficient exit from the business. So this is the prime objective of the voluntary liquidation. Now, applicability of the provisions of the voluntary liquidation when it comes into effect. Now, under the Companies Act 2013, Section 304 to Section 323 were dealing with the voluntary liquidation, but were not notified. They were not notified. They were under the Companies Act 2013, original Companies Act, Section 304 to Section 323. But after coming into effect, the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, Section 255 of the IBC says, provides that the Companies Act 2013 shall be amended in a manner specified in 11th schedule. So by virtue of the notification of 11th schedule of the code with effect from 15th November to 2016, various winding up provisions of Companies Act 2013 were amended, and voluntary winding up sections under the Companies Act 2013 were omitted, and the same have been incorporated under Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016. Now, the central government on 30th March 2017 notified Section 59 of IBC, which deals with the voluntary liquidation of corporate person, and with effect from 1st April 2017. And on the very next day, on 31st March 2017, the IBBI notified IBBI Voluntary Liquidation Process Regulations 2017 with effect from 1st April 2017. So both section 59 as well as the IBBI Voluntary Liquidation Process Regulations, they were came into effect with effect from 1st April 2017. Now, definition of corporate person is given under section 3 subsection 7 of IBC. Corporate person under the code means companies incorporated under the Companies Act 2013 or any other previous Companies Act, means Companies Act 1956, 1912, whatever. Whenever the companies have been incorporated under the any company law, then that will come within the definition of corporate person. Limited liability partnerships formed and registered under the Limited Liability Partnership Act 2008, and any other person incorporated with limited liability under any law for the time being in force, such as insurance companies, banking companies, electricity supply companies, and other companies governed by special acts for the time being in force, but shall not include financial service provider as defined under section 3 subsection 17. So all upon all these three types of companies and LLP, the provisions of the voluntary liquidation, they are applicable. Any other person incorporated with limited liability under any law for the time being in force, it is given under section 2 subsection B and subsection D of the IBC. It says any other company governed by special act for the time being in force. Special act means insurance companies, banking companies, electricity companies. So these are governed by the special acts, and such other body corporate incorporated under any law. Incorporated under any law is LLP for the time being in force as the central government may notify. Sorry. Now, the chapter 5, section 59 deals with the voluntary liquidation, and it came into effect with effect from 1st April 2017 along with the voluntary liquidation process regulations. So the conditions of the voluntary liquidation are a corporate person who intends to liquidate itself voluntarily and has not committed any default, means it must be fully solvent. So these are two conditions that a corporate person, if a corporate person wants to initiate voluntary liquidation process, then number one, it must be the intention of the corporate person to liquidate itself voluntarily. Secondly, the corporate person should not have any default, and then the corporate person may initiate voluntary liquidation proceedings. Now, default means default is given under section 3 subsection 12 of IBC, which says non-payment of debt when whole or any part or installment of the amount of debt has become due and payable and is not paid by the debtor or the corporate debtor, as the case may be. And that means that is also defined under section 3 subsection 11 of the IBC, which says a liability or obligation in respect of claim which is due from any person and includes a financial debt and operational debt. So these are the two conditions and the definition of default and debt. Now, prerequisites of for initiation of voluntary liquidation. This is given under section 59, subsection 3 and regulation 3 of voluntary liquidation process regulations. A first prerequisite is a declaration from the majority of directors of the company, designated partners of the limited liability partnership, individuals constituting governing body in case of other corporate persons. And this declaration must be duly verified by an affidavit. And what it would say, what you the corporate person has to give, they have made full inquiry into the affairs of the corporate person and formed an opinion that either corporate person has no debt or it will be able to pay its debts in full out of the sale proceeds of its assets to be sold in liquidation. Means it must be fully solvent. Solvent means company must be able to pay all its debts out of the proceeds, sale proceeds of the assets to be sold in liquidation. The second condition is the corporate person is not being liquidated to defraud any person. And third condition, corporate debtor has made sufficient provision to meet the obligations arising on account of pending proceedings or assessments before statutory authorities and pending litigations in respect of corporate person like setting up of trust or escrow account. So this provision, this specific regulation, sub-regulation 3 has been added with effect from 31st January 2024. So these three, these three conditions are to be written in the declaration, and it must be duly verified by an affidavit that these conditions apply to the company and nothing has been concealed, and these are true true and these are true and nothing has been concealed. Such declarations shall be accompanied with the following documents. So this declaration must be accompanied with must annex the following documents. Number one, the audited financial statements and the record of business operations of the corporate person for the previous 2 years. 2 years financial statements and record of business operations are required to be annexed with the declaration, or for a period since incorporation. So if the corporate person is incorporated within 2 years, means less than 2 years, then for that period. Otherwise, 2 years financial statements and record of business operations are required to be annexed with the declaration of solvency. A valuation report of the assets of the CP, if any, from the registered valuer. So if the corporate person is having assets, then a valuation report is required from the registered valuer. So otherwise, it is not required. Disclosure about the pending proceedings or assessments before statutory authorities. So if the corporate person having any pending proceedings or assessments before any statutory authorities, that it has to be disclosed in the declaration of solvency, and pending litigations in respect of the corporate person. This clause is also included with effect from 31st January 2024. Now, declaration under section 3, regulation 3, sub-regulation 4 and 5, declaration to list each of the debts. So if the corporate person is having debts, so declaration is they shall list each of the debts of corporate person as on the date of making declaration, and state that CP will be able to pay all the debts in full from the proceeds of the assets to be sold in liquidation. This is to be given in the declaration. The declaration shall also provide that corporate person has made provision for preservation of its records after its dissolution. So this declaration is also to be included in the declaration of solvency. Now, within 4 weeks after the declaration of solvency given by the majority of the directors, majority of the designated partners, or the individuals which we have discussed, that within 4 weeks from such declaration, there shall be a special resolution of the members or resolution passed by special majority of the partners or contributories, which would require that the corporate person to be liquidated voluntarily. Number one, it must specify in the resolution that second, the appointing an insolvency professional to act as liquidator. So only insolvency professional can be appointed to act as liquidator. No other the person is authorized. Earlier in the Companies Act, it was and any person can be appointed as the liquidator, but it is specifically mentioned in the regulations that insolvency professional can be appointed as liquidator. Now, simple resolution means ordinary resolution of the members, partners, contributors of the corporate person requiring the CP to be liquidated voluntarily as a result of expiry of the period of duration, if any, fixed by the articles or constitutional document. So, if the articles or any constitutional document means LLP agreement, or the memorandum of association of the other companies, or articles of association of other companies, if they provide that as a result of expiry of certain period of duration, the corporate person would be liquidated, then only a special only an ordinary resolution of the members, partners, or contributors is required. Second is on the occurrence of any event in respect of which the articles constitutional document provided that the CP shall be dissolved as the case may be. So if on occurrence of any event which is provided in the articles or the constitutional document, if that event occurs, then the corporate person is required to pass simple ordinary resolution, and then they start the or corporate person can initiate the liquidation proceedings. Third, appointing an insolvency professional to act as the liquidator. These are the conditions. Now, occurrence of event means the entity was formed with this specific objective and now it has been fulfilled. So if the corporate person has been formed with a specific objective, and that's specific objective has been fulfilled, then the corporate person will start the liquidation proceedings voluntarily. It is provided by the articles that entity should be liquidated on occurrence of event and that event has occurred. Examples: the company was set up for a project lasting 5 years. The company was incorporated to develop a property. So if the company has developed the property and that objective has been fulfilled, the company can start or initiate the liquidation proceedings. It is unviable to carry its business. Even this, if this is given in the articles, then the company can initiate voluntary liquidation proceedings. Parent company decides to shut down or divest a subsidiary as a part of the restructuring plan. So these are the occurrence of events upon which the company can initiate voluntary liquidation proceedings by passing simple ordinary resolution if these are given in the articles of association or any constitutional document of the company. Now, contributory, we have studied a word only, contributory. Contributory means, as per regulation 2, sub-regulation B, it is the definition of contributory is given, means a member of the company, the partner of the limited liability partnership, and any other person liable to contribute towards the assets of the corporate person in the events of its liquidation. So this will be treated, these persons will be treated as contributory as per regulation 2 subregulation B of the voluntary liquidation process regulations. Now, when the resolution has been passed by the corporate person as special resolution or the ordinary resolution, as the case may be, the corporate person shall notify that resolution to the registrar of companies as well as the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India about the resolution to liquidate the company within 7 days. So this resolution is required to be filed with ROC as well as the IBBI within 7 days from passing of the resolution or subsequent approval by the creditors as the case may be. Now, how to notify to the registrar of companies? So this resolution is required to be filed with the registrar of companies in form MGT. It is given under the Companies Act 2013, and declaration of solvency, audited financial statements of the last 2 financial years or from the date of incorporation, record of business operations of the last 2 years, and valuation report. These are required to be filed in form GNL2 under the Companies Act 2013. Now, how to notify to the IBBI, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India? By filing form VL1, VL2, VL3, VL4. So the as per the timelines given under circular IBBI LIQ 74 2024 dated 28th June 2024. So these four forms have been notified and have been notified by the IBBI with effect from 28th June 2024. So earlier, we used to send the emails to IBBI or uh, the no other process was there to inform the IBBI. But now the IBBI has notified these four forms through which the IBBI will be informed, and no other separate email or other any communication to IBBI is required. So these are the forms. Form VL1, this includes details of corporate person, details of voluntary liquidation process. This Form VL1 is required to be filed on or before 10th day of the second month after the public announcement. So in the month, if you suppose do public announcement in if you in the month of suppose February this month, then you have to file this form on 10th of the second month, means the March, before on or before 10th day of March 2026. VL2 details of the meetings of the contributories with the reasons for delay in process, details of replacement of liquidator, if any. Sorry. So if the voluntary liquidation process goes beyond the period provided in the regulations, which I will discuss in my next slides, that is 90 days or 270 days as per the requirement, then on or before 10th day of the subsequent month after meeting the contributories or replacement of liquidator. So you have to file this form VL2. VL3 details of dissolution application, details of unclaimed proceeds, details of realization and distribution made to the stakeholders, details of pending litigations, detection of fraud or insolvency, if any. So this form VL3 is required to be filed on or before 10th day of the subsequent month after submission of the dissolution application of the corporate person or withdrawal or suspension of application for voluntary liquidation process to the adjudicating authority. VL4 is required to be filed when the details of the order of dissolution, when the order of the dissolution has been passed by the adjudicating authority. This includes the details of the distribution of proceeds, receipts and payments, etc. On or before, it is required to be filed on or before 14th day of passing the order of resolution. So within 14 days, it is required to be filed with the IBBI in form VL4, right? Or of the corporate person or withdrawal or suspension of the voluntary liquidation process. Now, advantages of filing of VL1 to VL4 are that that it is boosting the efficiency and effectiveness of the voluntary liquidation process, allowing liquidators to conveniently access and submit forms online, reducing delays and enhancing efficiency, decreasing the chances of error and omissions, ensuring more accurate and reliable information, because these are all forms are filed online at the site of IBBI. The information is very quick and goes to the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India immediately, and the same will be reflected on the website itself. Now, liquidation commencement date. When the liquidation shall be treated as commenced. This is subject to approval of the creditors by 2/3 in value. The liquidation shall be deemed to have commenced from the date of passing the resolution. So, from the date of passing the resolution, it shall be the liquidation shall commence. Application of Chapter 3 and Chapter 7. The provisions of section 35 to 53 of chapter 3, that is liquidation process, which is given in the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016, and provisions of section 68 to 77 of chapter 7 regarding offenses and penalties, they apply to the voluntary liquidation process with such modification as may be necessary. Effect of the liquidation. Though, what would be the effect of the liquidation when the resolution has been passed and the liquidation has been commenced? Then the CP shall cease to carry on its business from the liquidation commencement date, except for the beneficial winding of the business. So the CP will cease to carry on the business on the liquidation commencement date, but it can be carried for the beneficial winding up. These corporate persons shall continue to exist until it is dissolved by the order of adjudicating authority. Means liquidation will be completed within certain period, which is given under the regulations. But after that, the liquidator has to file an application before the adjudicating authority for dissolution of the corporate person. So until it is dissolved by the order of the adjudicating authority, so until that it would exist, right? So after you get the order from the adjudicating authority, you will have to file that order with the registrar of companies within 14 days, as well as IBBI in form VL4, which we have discussed. After that, the registrar of companies on the master data, it will show like this: company status dissolved under section 59 subsection 8. Now, appointment of liquidator, regulation 5. How the liquidator will be appointed, which we have discussed, that at the time when the declaration of solvency is given by the majority of directors, and then the resolution will be passed by the shareholders or the contributors or the partners in case of LLP. Then in that resolution, the appointment of liquidator is required as per the regulations. The corporate person shall appoint the insolvency professional as liquidator by passing a resolution, and may be replaced by appointing another insolvency professional as liquidator by passing resolution. So special resolution होगा, or it will be ordinary resolution. So this depends upon the case to case basis. The resolution appointing insolvency professional shall contain the terms and conditions of the appointment and remuneration payable to him. So it will be mentioned in the resolution, the terms and condition, as well as the remuneration which is to be paid to the liquidator. The remuneration payable to the insolvency professional, and it will form part of the liquidation cost. The insolvency professional shall intimate the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India about his appointment within 7 days, with effect from 5th April 2022. Earlier it was 3 days. Now the IBB has amended the regulations, and the insolvency professional has to intimate the IBBI about his appointment within 7 days. Eligibility for appointment as liquidator. So insolvency professional who has been appointed by the corporate person by passing the resolution, that must be independent of CP. That whether IP or IPE means insolvency professional entity, they must be independent of the corporate person. Means they should not be any related party of the corporate person. So test of independence, that is given in regulation 6, that the insolvency professional or any partner or director of the insolvency professional entity must be eligible to be appointed as independent director on the board of corporate person as per section 149 of Companies Act 2013. So that person will be eligible to be appointed as the liquidator, not a related party of the corporate person. The definition of related party is given under section 4.5 subsection 24 and 24A of Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Has not been an employee, proprietor or partner of a firm of the auditors, secretarial auditors, cost auditors of the corporate person. He should not be an employee or proprietor or partner of the firm. In case of legal or consulting firm that has or had any transaction with the corporate person contributing 10% or more of the gross turnover of such firm at any time in last 3 years. So if a legal or consulting firm has the transaction or had the transaction last 3 years contributing to 10% or more of the gross turnover of that firm, so that is also not eligible to be appointed as the liquidator. The eligibility for appointment as liquidator, if the insolvency professional or the insolvency professional entity of which is a partner or director is not restrained by the order of the board. So if the board has not restrained them, then they can be appointed. Otherwise, they cannot be appointed. Liquidator shall disclose the existence of any pecuniary or personal relationship with this corporate person or any of its stakeholders as soon as he becomes aware of it. That I have become, I have the relationship with the corporate person as a pecuniary or personal relation. As soon as it comes to know, so he will immediately disclose to the IBBI and the Registrar of Companies. IP shall not continue as liquidator if the IPE of which he is a director or partner or any other partner or director of such IPE represents any other stakeholder in the same liquidation. So if in the same liquidation, any IPE or any director or partner, if they represent, so that person cannot be appointed as liquidator or IP cannot be appointed as liquidator. Now, public announcement in form A, Schedule 1. It is given in Regulation 14 that liquidator is required to give public announcement within 5 days from his appointment in two newspapers, that is English and one regional language in wide circulation. It should be in wide circulation. It should not be a local newspaper, you can say, but it should be wide circulation. At the location of the register office, you have to give public announcement at the location of the register office and principal of the corporate person and any other location where in the opinion of the liquidator this corporate person conducts material business operations. So all these three places, if they comes within the definition, then the liquidator has to give public announcement in all these places on the website of the corporate person and website on the website designated by the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India for this purpose, if any. Purpose of announcement is that to call the stakeholders for submission of their claims on the liquidation commencement date, and they provide the last date for submission of the claim, which shall be 30 days from the liquidation commencement date. Now, at this stage, when you have made the public announcement, then you will have to file Form VL1 with the IBBI, which includes the details of the corporate debtor and the corporate person and details of the voluntary liquidation process. VL1 is to be filed at the IBBI site on or before 10th day of the second month after the public announcement. And after login to IBBI, go to dashboard, select voluntary liquidation forms, fill reasons for the voluntary liquidation and liquidation commencement date. And after that, select VL1 and start filling form VL1. Now, notice to assessing officer. So it is given, it is not given under the provisions of the voluntary liquidation process regulations or the law, but under section 178 of Income Tax Act 1961 provides about the notice to concerned assessing officer. So notice of appointment is to be given to the concerned assessing officer within 30 days from the appointment as liquidator. Within 3 months from the assessing officer shall notify the amount of tax payable by the company. Liquidator cannot part with any assets of the company without the prior permission of the principal CCIT, CCIT, PCIT or the commissioner. Any contravention of the above provisions, liquidator shall be personally liable to pay tax of the company. But all these provisions, the last provisions is in the favor of insolvency professionals or the liquidators. The provision of this section shall have effect notwithstanding anything to the contrary contained in any other law in force except the provisions of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016. So the provisions of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016 will supersede these provisions. Means you have to give a notice to the assessing officer, but you need not to follow these provisions because the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016 supersedes all these provisions. Now, Journal Circular of IBBI has come on 15th November 2021. It says it clarified that as per the provisions of the code and the regulations read with section 178 of the Income Tax Act 1961, an insolvency professional handling voluntary liquidation process is not required to seek any no objection certificate or no due certificate from the Income Tax Department as part of the compliance in the said process. So only we have to give only a notice to the assessing officer. We need not to seek any NOC or NDC from the Income Tax Department. Now, registers and books of accounts. As per Regulation 10, if the books of accounts of the corporate person are incomplete on the liquidation commencement date, the liquidator shall have them completed with all convenient speed. So you will have to complete all the books of accounts. If the books of accounts are incomplete, then it is the duty of the liquidator to complete all the books of accounts with convenient speed. The liquidator shall keep receipts for all the payments made or expenses incurred by him. So it is required that every payment for every payment or expense you will have to maintain the receipts of those payments and expenses. Now these are the sorry these are the books. These are the books and registers which are required to be maintained by the liquidator as per the regulations. That is cash book, ledger, bank ledger, register of fixed assets and inventories, securities and investment register, register of book debts and outstanding debts, tenants register, suits register, decrease register, register of claims and dividends, contributories ledger, distributions register, fee register, suspense register, documents register, books register, register of unclaimed dividends and undistributed proceeds, such other books and registers as may be necessary to account for transactions entered into by him in relation to the corporate person. All the aforesaid registered books are maintained in the forms in Schedule 2. Schedule 2 is given in the voluntary liquidation process regulations, according to which all these forms and registers are required to be maintained with the necessary modifications as per the requirements of the liquidator. Right? Now, engagement of professionals. So to carry on the voluntary liquidation process under Regulation 11 provides about the engagement of the professional, that liquidator can engage certain professionals to assist him at the reasonable remuneration, and such remuneration shall form part of the liquidation cost. So, liquidator shall not engage a professional who is his relative or related party of the corporate person, or has served as an auditor to the corporate person at any time during 5 years preceding the liquidation commencement date. So these he will not appoint any person who is relative or related party of the corporate person or his relative or served as an auditor of the corporate person from in the last 5 years. Professional engaged or proposed to be engaged shall disclose the existence of any pecuniary or personal relationship with any of the stakeholders of the corporate person as soon as he becomes aware of it to the liquidator. So if a professional has been engaged and after that there is some pecuniary or personal relationship comes out, then the professional engaged he must disclose as soon as he becomes aware of it. Now, consultation with the stakeholders. Regulation 12 says that liquidator has the power to consult any of the stakeholders entitled for distribution of the proceeds under section 53. Means any creditors or any other stakeholders to whom the distribution will be made in the liquidation process, then liquidator has the power to consult that stakeholder. Stakeholders consulted under section 35 subsection 2 shall extend all assistance and cooperation to the liquidator to complete the liquidation of the corporate person. Now, the liquidator shall maintain the particulars of any consultation with the stakeholders made with the regulation by writing minutes of the meeting with the stakeholders. So he will maintain the particulars. Now, extortionate credit transactions. Regulation 13 says that extortionate credit transactions under section 50 means where the terms of receiving financial or operational debt within 2 years preceding the insolvency commencement date or liquidation commencement date require the CP to make exorbitant payments in respect of the financial or operational debt received. So if the terms of receiving financial or operational debt in the last 2 years require the CP to make exorbitant payments, then it comes into the definition of extortionate credit transactions or unconscionable under the principle of law relating to contracts. Section 50 subsection 2 says that board may specify the circumstances in which the transaction shall be covered under section 50 subsection 1. Any debt extended by any person providing financial services which is in compliance with any law for the time being in force in relation to such debt shall in no event be considered as an extortionate credit transaction. That will not be treated as an extortionate credit transaction because that has been given in compliance with the law for the time being in force. Now, claims. Regulation 15 to 19 says then a person when the liquidator has been appointed, the liquidator has made the public announcement and given that within 30 days the stakeholders may put their claims before the liquidator. So after after the public announcement, the person who claims to be the stakeholders shall provide his claim for the debt or dues to him, including interest, if any, on the liquidation commencement date. Proof of claim to be sent in the following manner. So how the stakeholders will send the proof of claim? This is given in the regulations. Regulation 16 subregulation 1 says that in case of operational creditor other than workman or employee shall submit proof of claim to the liquidator in person or by post or by electronic means in form B of schedule 1. There is given forum B in schedule 1. In this forum, the operational creditor other than work or employee will submit their claim to the liquidator in person or by post or by electronic means. Three modes are given for filing, for sending the claim to the liquidator. In case of financial creditor, the stakeholder shall submit the proof of claim to the liquidator in electronic means in form C of schedule 1. So there is only one mode given, that is in electronic means. In case of workman or employee shall submit proof of claim to the liquidator in person or by post or by electronic means in form D of schedule 1. So in case of workman or employee, they will submit their claim in form D of schedule 1. In case of numerous workmen or employees, if there are so many workmen and employees in the corporate person, then any authorized representative may submit one proof of claim for all such dues on their behalf in form E of schedule 1. So numerous workmen or employee, they will file their claim through the authorized representative in form E. The person claiming to be stakeholders other than the aforesaid. So if the person they don't fall in the above categories, then they will submit their proof of claim to the liquidator in person, by post or electronic means in form F of schedule 1. Now, basis of proof of claim, how they will prove their claim. Now, in case of operational creditors, the existence of debt may be proved on the basis of number one, records available with information utility, contract for supply of goods or services with corporate person, along with invoice demanding payment for the same to the corporate person. Third, order of the court or tribunal that has adjudicated upon the non-payment of debt, if any, and financial accounts of the CP. So all these documents are required to be annexed by the operational creditors while proving their claims. In case of financial creditors, the existence of debt may be proved on the following basis. They will have to first annex the records available with information utility, financial contracts supported by financial statements, record evidencing that amounts committed by the financial creditors to the corporate person under a facility has been drawn by the CP through the accounts. Record means they will show their books of account that or the bank statement that the corporate person has drawn the that they have drawn the this facility. Financial statements showing that the debt has not been repaid. Financial statements will show that the debt has not been, because the entry will come in the financial statements. Order of the court or tribunal that has adjudicated upon the non-payment of debt, if any. So, in case of financial creditors, the following the following documents are required to be annexed with the form of a claim to prove their claim that we have amount outstanding against the company. Uh, just this we have discussed. Now, proof of claim in case of workman and employee, the existence of debt may be proved on the basis of number one, records available with information utility, proof of employment such as contract of employment for the period of claim, notice demanding payment of unpaid amount, or any other proof that payment has not been made. The order of the court or tribunal that has adjudicated upon the non-payment of debt, if any. So these documents are required to be filed by the workman employee for proving their existence of debt. Liquidator shall
Sir,
admit the yes.
hello, sir. Can we discuss some query, or it will be
Yeah, please,
last?
please, sir, please.
So, my question is that here we said that the records available with the information utility. So, in case of a workman or employee,
Right.
how they will intimate to the information utility?
In case of workman or employee. No.
Hmm.
Actually, sir, the company, it is the duty of the company to send the documents to the information utility. So, if the records are available with the information utility, and if they get these records from the information utility, they can annex with with their form of claim.
So,
That means CP data will be disclosed in UT.
Pardon?
Not CP corporate person has to disclose his documents in the utility, and that has to be seen by the employees.
Yes,
Yes, that's what.
right.
oh,
So, liquidator shall admit the claims of workmen or employees on the basis of books of accounts of CP if workman or employee has not made any claim. Because there may be workmen or employees, workmen, mostly workmen, they are not literate persons. So if they could not make their claim in the form given in the regulations, so the liquidator shall admit their claim on the basis of books of accounts.
so corporate debtor is duty bound to inform the information utility about their employee.
Yes.
Mhm.
Actually, information it is the duty of the corporate person to provide the information to the information utility, because earlier it was the regulations of the information utility were not notified. Now it is, now they are notified.
Agreed, sir. But I just wanted to understand how the corporate debtor and will inform the information utility, and which information utility I don't know. Sorry with that. I'm showing my ignorance, but if you can just guide little more and a practical aspect, I'll be obliged.
I
Himanshi,
think one, yes,
Himanshi, the corporate debtor, when he wants to go for the voluntary liquidation, he has to fill a form with all these documents, financials and everything. So they have to put up in the information utility that copy has to submit to this form. Then only the case will be put up into the NCLT. Okay, so that
Mhm.
any of the claimant wants to submit their claim, either employee or maybe operation that any person, they wants to check this information. If their name is there, their outstanding is there, they will file that. That is one of the
yes,
procedure. That is the mode of procedure of filing this voluntary liquidation.
right.
Okay, thank you, Raviji. Thank you.
So in case of other stakeholders,
I have a
they,
query.
please,
Sorry to interrupt, sir. Sir, when we give this public advertisement, in that we don't attach these claim forms, right? So how the respective claimant will come to know which form he is required to submit? How we will inform the claimants or the stakeholders? These forms, we as a liquidator or IP aware कि this in this form the stakeholder need to submit their claims, but how they will come to know?
Madam,
it is,
while public announcement is given
yes,
in the undersign only, and before that they will give you download the forms in IBB website. They will give the in the
it is
advertisement.
written, it is written in the in the form A.
Hmm.
In Form A, I have seen the schedule in which Form A ka performa is given. In that, nowhere this mention is coming ki है ना, from where this stakeholder can get the claim form, or from where they can have access to this claim forms.
I think
It is mandatory, madam.
Okay, so we can give them some link of IBBI ka website from where they can get the claim forms.
Absolutely.
yes. Just hold on. Should I continue?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please. Basis of proof of claim. In case of other stakeholders, the existing of debt may be proved on the basis of record available with the information utility, documentary evidence of the notice demanding payment of unpaid amount, or bank statement of the claimant showing that the claim has not been paid, along with the affidavit that the documentary evidence and the bank statements are true, valid, and genuine. documentary or electronic evidence of the shareholding, and order of the court or tribunal that has adjudicated upon the non-payment of debt, if any. The proof of security interest. The existence of security interest may be proved by a secured creditor on the basis of records available with the information utility, certificate of registration of charge issued by the registrar of companies, and proof of registration of charge with Central Registry of Securitization, Asset Reconstruction and Security Interest of India, and the other relevant documents which adequately establish the security interest. The production of bill of exchange and promissory note. So if it has been issued by the corporate person, then proof of debt in respect of bill of exchange and promissory note or other negotiable instrument or security like nature for which CP is liable, such instrument shall be produced before the liquidator before the claim is admitted. Substantiation of claim, liquidator may call for such other evidence or clarification as he deems fit from the claimant for substantiating the whole or part of its claim. The cost of proof of claim. The claimant shall bear the cost of proving its claim. Cost of verification and determination of claim incurred by the liquidator shall be part of the liquidation cost. If the claim found to be false, then the liquidator shall endeavor to recover the cost incurred for verification and determination of the claim from such claimant and shall provide the details of the claimant to the board. Determination of quantum of claim. Where the amount of the claimed by the claimant is not precise due to any contingency or any other reason, the liquidator shall make the best estimate of the amount of the claim based on the consultation with the claimant and the corporate person and the information available with him. So he will make the best estimate of the amount of the claim. Valuation of debt in foreign currency. So if any debt is in foreign currency, then claim denominated in foreign currency shall be valued in Indian currency at the official exchange rate of the liquidation commencement date. So if whatever will be the official exchange rate at the liquidation commencement date, so that foreign debt will be valued in Indian currency on that date. Official exchange rate means is the reference rate published by the Reserve Bank of India or derived from such reference rates. Now claims, periodical claims, periodical payments. In case of rent, interest, and such other payments of periodical nature, the person may claim only for an amount, any amounts due and unpaid up to the liquidation commencement date, not after that. Debt payable at the future date. So if any debt is to be paid and at future date, then formula is given in the regulations. Person may prove a claim whose payment was not yet due on the liquidation commencement date is entitled to distribution in the same manner as any other stakeholder or as per the formula. Mutual credits and set off. In case of mutual dealings between corporate person and any other party, sums due from one party shall be set off against the sum due from the other to arrive at the net amount payable to the corporate person or the other party. So after mutual set off, whatever will be the net payable, that will be the amount of claim. Now verification of claim. Liquidator shall verify the claims submitted within 30 days from the last date for receipt of claims. After verification, the liquidator may either admit or reject the claim in whole or in part as the case may be as per section 40 of the code. As per the provisions of section 40, if the liquidator rejects a claim, he shall record the reasons for rejection in writing. So, liquidator is required to record the reasons for rejection in writing if the liquidator rejects any claim, the liquidator shall communicate his decision of admission or rejection of the claim to the creditor and the corporate debtor both within 7 days of such admission or rejection of the claim. And creditor may appeal to the adjudicating authority against the decision of the liquidator within 14 days of the receipt of such decision as per section 42 of the code. So these are the provisions for verification of claim. List of stakeholders. So after verifying the claims, the liquidator shall prepare the list of stakeholders on the basis of proof of claim submitted and accepted with the amount of claim admitted if applicable, extent to which the debts or dues are secured or unsecured, details of the stakeholders, and proof of claim admitted or rejected in part or rejected wholly. The liquidator shall prepare list of stakeholders within 45 days from the last date of receipt of claims. 30 days period is given for verification of claims, and then 15 days, next 15 days is given for preparing the list of stakeholders. Total 45 days is given. Provided that where no claim is received till the last date of receipt of claim, then the liquidator shall prepare the list of stakeholders within 15 days from the last date of receipt of claims. Now, list of stakeholders as modified from time to time shall be available for inspection by the persons who submitted proof of claims, available for inspection by the members, partners, directors, and guarantors of the corporate person, displayed on the website of the corporate person or designated by the board for this purpose. Now, realization of assets, manner of sale, how the assets will be treated in the it is given in the regulations. It says that liquidator may value and sell the assets of the corporate person in the manner and mode approved by the corporate person in compliance with the provisions, if any, in the applicable statute. Assets include an asset, all asset, a set of assets, or parcel of assets, as the case may be, in relation to the sale of assets. Now, recovery of the money's dues. How the money will be recovered? The liquidator shall endeavor to recover and realize all assets of and dues of the CP in a time-bound manner for maximization of the value for the stakeholders. Proceeds of liquidation and distribution. The money to be paid in the bank account. The liquidator shall open a bank account in the name of corporate person followed by the words involuntary liquidation. So bank account has to be opened by the liquidator, and that will be named as XYZ Private Limited or XYZ LLP in voluntary liquidation in a scheduled bank only for the receipt of all monies due to the corporate person. The liquidator shall pay to the credit of the bank account opened under sub-regulation 1 all the monies including check and demand drafts received by him as the liquidator of the corporate person.
Sir,
Sir,
here
whether
I have
that
Realization.
a
bank account can
practical
be
query.
operated jointly by the director and liquidator?
No, sir, no, sir. Because the board will cease to be the board will cease after the liquidation commencement date.
Board will cease, but can liquidator nominate some other individual to jointly operate the account? It may be
It,
a director or some employee
no,
of the corporate
no,
person.
no, sir. It is nowhere written in the regulations.
Sir, here I have a practical query. कि what will
Please.
happen to the company का bank accounts? Those bank account liquidator will only close, or during the board meeting in which the solvency declaration is given by directors,
No, no, no.
director.
Actually, declaration of when the declaration of solvency is given in the board meeting, and at that time the bank account has not been opened by the liquidator, involuntary liquidation account. That has not been opened. So where the funds will go?
So means
So funds
liquidator
will
only
stay
will
there
close.
after the funds will be transferred to the liquidation account. After that, the account will be closed.
So So liquid
This is
with
the practical problem that I know you are asking, that who will to close the account, because the bank would require the board resolution. So at in the first board meeting, you can pass the board resolution that after the funds are transferred to the voluntary liquidation account, the account will be closed by the liquidator.
okay, okay. In that we can pass not to close the accounts, not with
Yes,
immediate effect, once the liquidation account is open and funds are transferred to that account.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay. And sir, for opening this bank account by liquidator, will bank agree to open? Means this is again a practical challenge. Ki will
Yes, this is
bank
again a practical challenge. Many of the banks, they don't open the bank account. They require so many documents of the board of directors. They say that you please bring the order of the court that the company is in liquidation. So many practical problems are there, but some of the now the banks, they are approaching even me or the other liquidators that we are ready to open the account, and because they know that the funds will stay for a period of 1 month,
huh.
30 days in their bank. So
Okay.
they are ready to open, but this is a practical challenge. I have raised this query during a conference before the chairman of IBBI, that the account that is presently with the company, with the bank, that be converted into the bank account in voluntary liquidation, and the authorized signatory of that account be appointed, the liquidator shall be appointed as the authorized signatory to operate that bank account instead of the board of directors. So there may be. I requested them to alter the regulation, that the account present account of the corporate person will be the treated as the liquidation account, and the liquidator will be authorized to operate that bank account. So I have raised this
Sir,
query before
just
the chairman.
sir, just for information, the
Yes.
Standard Chartered Bank is fully gear up, and they are opening the account
Sir, sir,
in the
sir,
name of
sir,
the liquidator.
sir, there are so many
So
IDFC bank is there, Standard
yes,
Chartered Bank is there. There are now so many banks who have come forward, and they are ready to open the bank, these kind of accounts.
So
yes,
post
I did it, so
distribution
I
of
can.
post
No
distribution
board resolution is required. No board resolution is required. Only the resolutions of for voluntary winding up is only required in this
Yes,
case.
yes, yes.
Sir, post distribution of all the claimants and settlement of claimants amount, again, will there be any challenge to close the liquidation account?
No, there is no. Pardon.
Ki post liquidation means post liquidation of the CP,
Hmm.
will there be any challenge to close the liquidation
No, no,
account?
there is no challenge. There is no challenge because the account will be zero.
Okay.
And again, the
So,
liquidator is the only person who is authorized to operate and close the account.
yes, 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 yes. The account will be zero account. When the account will be zero, then no bank will say that we will continue, because when we open the account with the bank, we used to tell them that this account will stay for a period of 30 or for 30 to 40 or 50, 45 days, and after that we will have to close this account, because within 30 days you will have to make the payments, all the payments. Earlier it was 6 months, but now it is 30 days.
So will we will have to wait till voluntary liquidation ka final order from the
No,
AG?
no, 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 no. Liquidation. The liquidator is required to complete the liquidation within 90 days or 270 days in case of the company, the corporate person is having creditors. So within this period, the liquidator is required to complete the liquidation process. After that, the liquidator will file an application with the adjudicating authority for dissolution of the corporate person. So all the liquidation proceedings are required to be completed within this period only.
Okay, means before going to A, this account also need to be closed down.
Definitely, definitely. Otherwise, A will not entertain your application. They will say first we ask you that whether the bank account has been closed, because after the closing of the bank account, you will have to get the liquidation account audited. And the audited statement of accounts is required to be annexed with the application to be filed with the adjudicating authority,
Okay, got it, sir. Thank you, sir.
right?
Thank you for solving the practical query. Yes.
Now, realization of each day shall be deposited into the bank account without any deduction not later than next working day. So, liquidator will not cannot deduct any amount from the realization amount, and he will have to deposit this amount in the on the very next day with the in the liquidation account. Money in the credit of the bank account shall not be used except in accordance with section 53. So section 53 is waterfall mechanism. So uh, only the payment can be made from that bank account as per section 53. All payments above 5,000 rupees shall be made by check, drawn or online banking transactions against the bank account. Now distribution and return of money. Rule
Sir,
35
many
says,
just to this for bank account, many
G.
people like it is also accepted that the existing account we are just changing the name nomenclature. The same company's name we are adding in voluntary liquidation, and the entire process becomes quite easy without opening new account.
This suggestion I had given to the chairman of IBBI, but till date it is not has been accepted because it
It is
is not the,
accepted, sir. It is not accepted return, but I have done around 5, 7 cases. It has been going through smoothly. And it was there
actually
in
the,
secretarial ICICI publication also. This was mentioned actually. From that we picked up.
actually ma'am, the most of the banks they have no provision for conversion for of the present bank account to the liquidation account.
Sir,
I have also approached so many banks that the company is having this account in your bank. You please convert it into liquidation account. They said that we don't have any provision. You will have to
sir, we
close
have
this and
done
you will
in
have to
many
open a new
banks.
account.
We have opened in ICICI also, Indian Overseas Bank. So many banks. Matlab,
I
it can
have,
be tried.
I have also done it in two cases with Bank
Yeah,
of India and Bank of Baroda as well.
yeah. So
If
that is
if,
a
if such kind of provision is in the bank, then I think it is very easy. Otherwise,
yes,
the procedure is to close the earlier bank account and to open the new bank account.
right.
Also, that is only the good procedure.
Which procedure, sir?
So adopting the same account with under
Yeah,
tax.
this is a easy and the easy procedure.
Yeah, and also income tax refund also gets credited if it all it is pending.
Right.
Right.
Now, distribution of the amount that is required to be done within 30 days from the receipt of the amount. Earlier, it was 6 months. Now, deduction of liquidation cost before distribution. Before distribution, the liquidation cost is required to be deducted with the approval of corporate person. Distribution of an asset that cannot be readily or advantageously sold due to its peculiar nature or other special circumstances amongst the shareholder. Return of money rule 36 says stakeholders shall immediately return money received in distribution for which he was not entitled. So if by mistake you have distributed an amount to a stakeholder to which he was not entitled, so he will have to return that money to the liquidator in the liquidation account. Now, tax liability under the Income Tax Act 1961. Tax liability is as per section 220C of the Income Tax Act 1995. Any distribution made to the stakeholders of the company on its liquidation to the extent to which the distribution is attributable to the accumulated profits of the company immediately before its liquidation, whether capitalized or not, shall be deemed dividend. So any accumulated profits of the company will be treated as deemed dividend. And on deemed dividend, TDS at the rate of 10% is applicable, is payable as per section 194. To deduct and deposit TDS is the responsibility of the liquidator. Now, with example, we will understand this that for example, paid up share capital of the XYZ company in voluntary liquidation is suppose 50 lakh. 50,000 rupees, 50,000 shares of rupees 100 each. Suppose amount realized from the assets of the company is rupees 80 lakh. After payment of liabilities, amount available for distribution to the shareholder or the stakeholders is rupees 75 lakh. Now 50 lakh is repayment of capital only. The amount above 50 lakh rupees, that is 25 lakh, will be deemed dividend as per section 222C, because these are the accumulated profits, and this will be treated as deemed dividend. And on such amount, TDS of at the rate of 10%, that is 2,50,000 amount shall be payable. Now, tax liability also under the Income Tax Act 1961, Section 46, subsection 1 of the Income Tax Act 1961 says capital gains of the company. Notwithstanding anything contained in Section 45, means whatever is written in the 45, that is separate, where the assets of the company are distributed to the shareholders on its liquidation. Such distribution shall not be regarded as transfer by the company for the purpose of Section 45. So Section 45 says any profits or gains arising from the transfer of a capital asset affected in the previous year shall be chargeable to income tax under the head capital gains. So when the as per section 46, if the assets of a company are distributed, it will not be on liquidation, it will not be regarded as transfer and will not be subject to capital gains. Now section 46 subsection 2 of the Income Tax Act 1961 talks about the calculation of capital gains of the shareholders. On transfer, the company will not be liable to pay any capital gains. But where a shareholder on the liquidation of the company receives any money or other assets from the company, he shall be chargeable to income tax under the head capital gains in respect of the money so received or the market value of the other assets on the date of distribution, as reduced by the amount assessed as dividend within the meaning of section 222C, and sum so arrived at shall be deemed to be full value of the consideration for the purpose of section 48, that is mode of computation of capital gains. So this provision I will make you understand through an example. If the company has 100 rupees in accumulated profits and distributes assets worth rupees 150 during the liquidation, rupees 100 of that distribution is deemed dividend and the remaining 50 is treated as capital gains in the hands of the shareholders. This deemed dividend amount of rupees 100 is added to the shareholder income and taxed, while the rest of the distribution of 50 is subject to capital gains tax in the hands of shareholder. So this is these are the provisions of the tax liability under the Income Tax Act 1961. Now reporting by the liquidator. So can we have 10 minutes break if you all think?
Yes, please, sir.
Please, sir, please. Thank you. So we will start after 10 to 15 minutes, right?
Okay, sir.
Thank you, everyone. And should we start right now? Please.
Yes, we can. I think.
Now, chapter 4 talks about the powers and functions of the liquidator. So first is reporting by the liquidator, and regulation 8 provides for submission of preliminary report to the corporate person within 45 days from the liquidation commencement date, detailing. So this preliminary report will go to the corporate person within 45 days, and it will include capital structure of the corporate person. Number one. Number two, estimates of the assets and liabilities as on the liquidation commencement date on the basis of books of the corporate person. If the liquidator has reason to believe that books of the corporate persons are not reliable, then such estimates based on the reliable records and data otherwise available to him. Whether he intends to make any further inquiry into the matters related to the promotion, formation, or failure of the corporate person or the conduct of the business thereof. So this will have to be reported in the preliminary report. Proposed plan of action for carrying out the liquidation along with estimates of the liquidation costs and timeline within the which he proposes to carry it out. So these these reports these things are to be reported in the preliminary report given to the corporate person. Now, liquidator shall prepare and submit preliminary report, status report, minutes of the consultation with the stakeholders, and final report in the manner specified under the regulation. Liquidator shall make available the aforesaid reports and minutes of the stakeholders either in electronic or physical form on the receipt of application writing and cost of making such reports available to them. Also obtain an undertaking from the stakeholders that they shall maintain confidentiality of the reports and shall not use the same to cause any undue gain or loss to itself or to any other person. So these reports may be made available to the stakeholders, and the liquidator will obtain an undertaking that the stakeholders will not use them for undue gains, or they will maintain the confidentiality of these reports. Now, completion of liquidation, regulation 37 says liquidator shall endeavor to complete the liquidation process and submit the final report within 270 days from the liquidation commencement date where the creditors have approved the resolution under section 59 subsection 3 or regulation 31C. But if the company doesn't have the creditors, then the period is 90 days from the liquidation commencement date in all other cases. Earlier it was 12 months. Now it is only 90 days. So liquidation has to be completed within a period of either 270 days or 90 days. And if the liquidation process continues for more than 270 days or 90 days, the liquidator shall hold meeting of the contributories after the 90 days or after the 270 days within 15 days that and thereafter within 15 days from the end of 270 days or 90 days from the till the submission of application for dissolution to the corporate person. So at the end of every 90 days or at the end of every 270 days within 15 days, the liquidator shall hold the meetings of the contributories, and these meetings he will hold till making the application or submission of the application for dissolution to the corporate person with the adjudicating authority. The liquidator shall present the status report indicating progress in liquidation, which includes settlement of the list of stakeholders, how much stakeholders have been settled, and details of assets remains to be unsold or realized, distribution made to the stakeholders, how much distribution he has made to the stakeholders, and distribution of unsold assets made to the stakeholders. Developments in any material litigation by or against the corporate person. filing of or development in the applications for avoidance of undervalue transaction in accordance with chapter 3 of part 4 of the code, and reasons for not completing the process within the time stipulated and additional time required for completing the process. So all these things are required to be given in the status report. Status report shall enclose the audited accounts showing the receipt and payment of the liquidation since the liquidation commencement date. So status report is required to be audited accounts of the receipt and payments of the liquidation are required to be annexed with the status report. The liquidator shall file status report with the board within 7 days of the meeting of the contributors. Means next 7 days, within 15 days, the liquidator shall hold the meeting with the stakeholders, and within 7 days of the meeting, the liquidator will file the status report with the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. Now, at this stage, Form VL2 is required to be filed with the IBBI. VL2 includes the details of the meetings of the contributors with the reasons for delay in the process and replacement of the liquidator, if any. VL2 is to be filed with the IBB at the IBBI site on or before 10th day of the subsequent month after the meeting of the contributors or replacement of the liquidator. After login at the IBBI site, go to dashboard, select VL forms. After that, select VL2 and start filling VL2 form. Now, final report, regulation 38 says that on completion of the liquidation process, the liquidator shall prepare final report consisting of audited accounts showing receipts and payment of the liquidation since liquidation commencement date, statement demonstrating that the assets of the CP has been disposed of, the debts of the CP have been discharged to the satisfaction of the creditors, no litigation is pending against CP, or sufficient provision has been made to meet the obligations arising from the pending litigation. So these are the contents of the final report, and the sale statement with regard of all assets reflecting realized value, how much was the realized value, cost of realization, manner and mode of sale, person to whom the sale is made, explanation for the shortfall if the realized value is less than the registered value in the asset value in asset valuation report of the registered value, and any other relevant details for the sale. The liquidator shall send the final report forthwith to the registrar and the board. The liquidator shall submit the final report and the compliance certificate in Form H along with the application for dissolution of corporate person to the adjudicating authority as mentioned under section 59 subsection 7. So the final report and Form H is required to be filed with the adjudicating authority along with the application for dissolution of the corporate person. The timeline of the voluntary liquidation is like this: that declaration of solvency of the directors partners regarding the solvency of the corporate person means T means here T here is the date date of commencement of liquidation proceedings, date of commencement of liquidation. So it is T minus 28 days means 28 days before the date of commencement of liquidation commencement date. The declaration of solvency from the majority of directors is required, and within 7 days, within 4 weeks, it is required to be approved by the shareholders or the members of the LLP by passing resolution. And passing of resolution or special resolution, this is the date of liquidation commencement date. About the commencement of voluntary liquidation process and appointment of insolvency professional liquidator, approval of the creditors representing 2/3 in value of the debt if the corporate person owes any debt of the resolution passed under section 59(3)(c) regulation 31(c). This is within 7 days from the liquidation commencement date. Intimation by the insolvency professional regarding his appointment as liquidator to IBBI within 7 days from the liquidation commencement date. Public announcement within 5 days in Form A. Notification to the registrar of companies and the board about the resolution passed under Section 59(3)(c) and Regulation 3(1)(c) or the subsequent approval of the creditors thereto as the case may be by the corporate person. So if their creditors are, if the corporate person is not having creditor, then 7 days. If the corporate person are having creditors, then within 14 days. Submission of claims by the stakeholders. Submission of claims by the stakeholders is within 30 days. Withdrawal or modification of claims by the stakeholders next 14 days, means 44 days. Submission of the preliminary report to the corporate person by the liquidator within 45 days from the liquidation commencement date. Verification of claims by the liquidator within 60 days, means from the liquidation commencement date. Intimation about the decision of acceptance or rejection of claim by the stakeholders to the stakeholders by the liquidator within 67 days. Preparation of list of stakeholders by the liquidator within 45 days. So if the or 75 days, because within 60 days verification of claims, if the claims are there. If claims are not there, nobody has given any claim, then 15 days, otherwise 30 days. So if we add 15 days to 30 days, it is 45 days. If we add 30 days 45 days to 30 days, it is 75 days. Appeal by the creditors against the decision of the liquidator next 14 days from the rejection of the claim. So 61 plus 14, 81 days. Distribution of the proceeds to the stakeholders by the liquidator. Date of realization within 30 days from the date of realization. Deposit of amount of unclaimed dividends and undistributed proceeds in the corporate voluntary liquidation account by the liquidator prior to submission of application under section 59 subsection 7. This regulation 39 I will discuss in my next slides. Submission of final report to the board and the registrar of companies by the liquidator. This is 90 days or 270 days. Submission of final report along with the application for dissolution to adjudicating authority. Again, it is 90 days or 270 days, because the liquidation process is required to be completed within a period of 90 days or 270 days, as the case may be. Completion of the voluntary liquidation process, 90 days, 270 days. Meeting of the contributories and presentation of annual status report, it is within 15 days from the end of 90 days or 270 days. Now, application to adjudicating authority, where the affairs of the CP have been completely wound up and its assets completely liquidated, the liquidator shall make an application to the adjudicating authority for dissolution of the corporate person. Adjudicating authority on application filed by the liquidator under subsection 7 pass an order for the dissolution of the corporate person. Copy of the order under subsection 8 shall within 14 days from the date of such order shall be forwarded and filed with the registrar of companies. Now, unclaimed proceeds on undistributed assets of the liquidation. So if there remains any unclaimed proceeds or undistributed assets, then what would be the treatment of those? It is provided in the regulation. The board shall maintain and operate an account to be called corporate voluntary liquidation account, CVL account, with the scheduled bank. Now, liquidator shall deposit the amount of unclaimed dividend or undistributed proceeds, if any, along with any income earned thereon till the date of deposit in CVL account before submitting the application to the adjudicating authority under section 59 subsection 7, or holds any amount on the date of commencement of IBBI VLP Amendment Regulations 2000 within 15 days. Now, if the liquidator fails to deposit the aforesaid amount, then the same shall be deposited along with 12% interest per annum thereon from the due date of deposit till the date of deposit. Liquidator shall submit the evidence of deposit of the amount to ROC as well as IBBI and a statement in Form G setting forth the nature of the deposit along with the name and address of the stakeholder entitled to receive the unclaimed dividend or undistributed proceeds. So he will file. He will submit this with the ROC as well as the IBBI. Liquidator shall be entitled to get a receipt from the board for any amount deposited into the said account. Prior to dissolution of the corporate person, a stakeholder who claims to be entitled to any amount deposited into the CVL account may apply to the liquidator in Form I for withdrawal of the amount. So the stakeholder will apply to the liquidator in Form I for withdrawal of the amount. After verification, the liquidator will verify the claim of the stakeholder, and liquidator shall request to the board to release the amount to him for distribution. On receipt of the request, the board may release the amount to the liquidator, and the liquidator, after making distributions, shall intimate to the adjudicating authority for such distribution. After dissolution of the corporate person, a stakeholder may apply to the board in Form I for an order of the withdrawal of amount. So after the dissolution of the corporate person, the stakeholder may apply to the board. And if any other person other than the stakeholder claims to be entitled to any amount, shall submit evidence to satisfy the liquidator or the board regarding his entitlement. If the board is satisfied that the stakeholder or the person other than the stakeholders is entitled to withdraw any amount from CVL account, may order in favor of that person or the stakeholder. The board shall maintain corporate person wise ledger of the amount deposited or withdrawn from the account. So corporate person wise ledger that will be maintained by the board. And the board will nominate an officer not below the level of executive director of the board as custodian of the account, and no proceeds shall be withdrawn without his approval. Maintain proper accounts and get the same audited annually and placed before the governing board and shall be forwarded to the central government. Amount deposited into CVL account which remains unclaimed or undistributed, and any income or interest received in the said account after completion of 15 years from the date of dissolution of CP shall be transferred to the Consolidated Fund of India. Means the amount will stay for a period of 15 years. So within 15 years, anybody can claim the amount from the board, and after 15 years, it will be transferred to the Consolidated Fund of India. Now, circumstances under which the adjudicating authority may order for suspension of voluntary liquidation process. If the liquidator is of the opinion that liquidation is being done to defraud any person, because it is the condition that the directors as well as the designated partners, they give declaration and in that declaration they used to write that the liquidation is not being carried to defraud any person. So if the liquidator is of the opinion that liquidation is being done to defraud any person, and the corporate person will not be able to pay debts in full from the proceeds of the assets to be sold in liquidation, then he shall make an application to the adjudicating authority to suspend the process of liquidation, and the adjudicating authority may pass any such order as it deems fit. So he will make an application to the adjudicating authority to suspend the process, and the adjudicating authority will pass the orders as the adjudicating authority deems fit. Now, at this stage, Form VL3 is required to be filed, and it includes the details of dissolution application, unclaimed proceeds, realization and distribution made to the stakeholders, pending litigations, detection of fraud or insolvency. Form VL3 to be filed at IBBA site on or before 10th day of subsequent month after submission of dissolution application of CP or withdrawal or suspension of application for the voluntary liquidation process to the adjudicating authority. After login to IBBA site, go to dashboard, select VL forms. After that, select form VL3 and start filling form VL3. Now, VL4 form includes the order for dissolution of corporate person, which includes the details of distribution of proceeds, receipts, and payments. Details required in this form are carried forward from form VL3 and hence need not be filled again. Automatically they will come as filled up. Order of the dissolution passed by the adjudicating authority shall be filed in form VL4 at IBBA site and with ROC in form INC 28 within 14 days of the passing of the order or withdrawal or suspension of VL application for voluntary liquidation process. After login at the IBBA site, go to dashboard, select VL forms, and then after that select VL4 and start filling form VL4. Now, preservation of records. So, during voluntary liquidation, there are so many records. There are so many records prepared by the liquidator or received by the liquidator from the corporate person. The liquidator shall preserve the copies of all such records which are required to give a complete account of the voluntary liquidation process. The liquidator shall preserve copies of records relating to or forming the basis of his appointment as liquidator, including the terms of appointment, handing over or taking over of the assignment, if there is any replacement of the liquidator, initiation of voluntary liquidation process, public announcement, claims, verification of claims and list of creditors, engagement of professionals, registered valuers, etc., including work done, reports, etc., submitted by them. So all these copies of all these records, this will form on the basis of all the filings of the adjudicating authority, appellate authority, high court, supreme court, whichever applicable, and their orders, statutory filing with the board and the insolvency professional agencies, correspondence during the voluntary liquidation process, cost of voluntary liquidation process, all reports, registers, documents such as preliminary report, annual status report, final report prior to dissolution, various registers and books, etc., mentioned in the regulation 8 and 10 of the principal regulations, and any other records which is required to give complete account of the voluntary liquidation process. So all these copies are required, records are required to be maintained. For which period the liquidator shall preserve electronic copy of all records, physical and electronic, for a minimum period of 8 years, and physical copy of the records for minimum period of 3 years from the date of dissolution of the corporate person before the board, the adjudicating authority, appellate authority, or any court whichever is later. The liquidator shall, along with the application filed under subsection 7 or section 59 to the liquidator, to the adjudicating authority, provide the details and manner of the preservation of record. So in the application to be filed with the adjudicating authority, the liquidator shall provide the details and manner of the preservation of records in the application. There are some case laws on stay or withdrawal of the liquidator. The Honorable Allahabad High Court in the matter of Dhankari Investments Limited versus Official Liquidator adjudicated that This power includes the power to stay voluntarily winding up itself together when the court is satisfied that the causes for which the voluntary winding up resolution was passed, if any, disclosed to the court, no longer exists. The company is not indebted or and commercially solvent, and a bona fide effort has been made to revive the company. The court
उसमें
will,
कर ये तो
however,
नहीं हो सकता.
please. The court will, however, not act on mere change of the opinion of the members or contributors and would like to be satisfied with the change in the conditions in which such resolution is passed. The power should be exercised sparingly and not and only where it is just beneficial and expedient to do so, taking into consideration the object of the formation of the company, the resolution of the differences, if any, the availability of the assets in support of the resolution to continue with the business and stage at which the resolution has been passed, namely that the liquidator has not proceeded to sell assets and pay creditors and the contributors. In that case, the court may entertain the application for withdrawal of the liquidation. So then other case is also that further in the matter of VB Prohit versus Gadag Jumbkeshwara and another, the Karnataka High Court, while disposing the application for staying the voluntary liquidation of the company, observed if the shareholders have resolved to revive the company and make one more effort to start cement factory, opportunity should not be denied to them. In these circumstances, prayer in this application are granted. Now, the benefits of the voluntary liquidation. Benefits of the voluntary liquidation are this is controlled exit from the market in a controlled manner, minimizing disruptions and ensuring the organized distribution of assets because this is as per the regulations. Transparency, involvement of creditors and shareholders in the liquidation process, thereby avoiding potential conflicts. Efficiency, voluntary liquidation streamlines the winding up process, enabling a quicker resolution compared to the traditional methods. Stakeholder protection, the interest of all the creditors, shareholders, and other stakeholders are safeguarded through the regulated and fair process. Legal recognition, the IBC provides a legal framework for voluntary liquidation, offering legitimacy to the process. So this was all about the voluntary liquidation process. So thank you very much.
Sir, one question.
Yes, please.
That is regarding that if income tax refund, if we have not received, then we can go for the distribution or not. We have asked for the refund from the income tax department. That is around 10 lakhs. So,
Yes.
and we have not closed the voluntary.
But before closing the bank account, you will have to get that refund. Otherwise, where that refund will go?
Right, sir. Right, sir. So we have to hold, and the process will take more than 270 days. Then what?
Then you will have to hold the meetings of the stakeholders as per the law within 15 days from every end of the 90 days or 270 days.
All right, all right. All right.
Yes.
So we can't distribute the money
No,
till refund is not received.
no. You can distribute the money, but when the refund will come, that will be distributed in the ratio to the stakeholders.
All right, all right. So we have to wait for the refund.
Because you will have to distribute the money as per section 53.
Right, right.
Right?
All right, all right, sir. But they can ask for demand also instead of giving us refund. We can ask for demand also. Income tax people, income tax
Demand.
department, they may demand also because we are seeking refund, but it is due to the sale of the property.
No demand because when you have published Form A, you have given them a opportunity to file their claim within 30 days, right?
Right, right,
So if they will not file any claim, so you have the right to reject the claim as per section 42 of the IBC.
Okay, okay, all right, all right.
You can reject claim, and the income tax department will have to approach to the adjudicating authority within 14 days from the rejection of claim.
All right, sir.
Excuse me,
Right?
sir.
Till date, they have not filed the
Excuse me,
claim.
sir.
Please.
In case assessment is pending, then what to do?
It is the duty of the liquidator to get the assessment done.
But it is depend on the department that when they will do or not.
So, but definitely, when you will go for assessment, the department, if the department doesn't, then you will have to continue the liquidation process.
Okay. In that case, we have not to distribute the assets
No,
till
you can.
assessment order is not passed.
Yes, you will have to first get the assessment done, because there may be otherwise, actually, the income tax department will have to do that, because when you will intimate to the income tax department regarding the liquidation of the company, the department will first assess, do the assessment, and if there will be any demand, they will claim from the liquidator. Otherwise, they will you can reject their claim, and they will have to approach to the adjudicating authority, because there is a process as per law. Within 30 days, they will have to file their claim.
Even early completion also, we can file a representation before the authorities. They may complete it in early time also. So early hearing, they will do that.
Yes.
Mm.
Sir,
Same
in case of GST, they have assessed till 16, 17, but they have not assessed thereafter. And
Sir,
that,
when you will give the notice to the GST department, to the income tax department, that within 30 days you file your claim, they will have to make the assessment.
and even then, they are not doing.
If they will not the make assessment after 30 days, you have no you have not the power to get their claim.
All right, all right. So they will
They will
go
have
to
to approach to the
penalty.
adjudicating authority as per section 42.
they are
Right,
ceased to
right.
be applied. They
In
ceased
my
to be applied.
case, it's a very closely held company. Only husband and wife are the shareholder and directors. In the
Right.
company, there are small assets like furniture, car, some laptop, and other things which they don't want to sell in the market. They
Yes.
are saying that they themselves want to purchase them. So before
Yes.
liquidation, if they buy, then will there be some like PUFE transaction
No, no, in no,
concern?
no, in no, no, in liquidation, you can distribute these assets to the shareholders, because that is a closely held company, and there are so many you can say there are so many decided cases of the NCLT on this matter.
So, the provision which I have gone through, according to that, you can distribute the assets to shareholder only in case if the liquidator has done his or her full efforts to sell in the markets at realizable value, and then only if he cannot sell.
But if it is a closely held company, and the shareholders, they have decided that they take these assets in liquidation, then and you can distribute those assets in their shareholding ratio.
So, do we need to have valuation also for these assets to
If
check the value?
definitely you will have to get the valuation done, because this is the prerequisite of the liquidation process.
Even if these are the closely held company and the same
Yes,
shareholders
yes.
are.
This is because you will have to annex the valuation report along with the declaration of solvency.
Okay. Means either they can buy the assets before liquidation to avoid the valuation, and if suppose post liquidation they want to get the assets, then valuation will be required.
Yes.
Sir, in case if there is only cash and bank balance, even then we have to do the valuation report.
No, because this is not the asset, na?
SFA valuation is required or not?
Not required. Because if the company is having share capital of rupees post 2 crore, and 2 crore they are having the their bank balance, then
Hmm.
what valuation do you require?
Any certificate from valuer, registered valuer.
Not because that is in the bank account.
All right.
Liquid assets cannot be evaluated.
All right. All
जी
right.
जी.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful session, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much, sir, for the wonderful session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
Thank you
you,
very
Ji.
much,
Thank
sir, for the wonderful session.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, sir. Value addition.
Thank you very much.
Shall we
Sir,
conclude?
please share the PPT with all the
Yes, yes,
participants
ma'am.
so that it
Yes,
will, yeah, PPT is very informative. Yeah, please
please.
share, sir.
Definitely, ma'am. Definitely.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ji. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving your valuable time and sharing your suggestions on the topic.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sir, please share the presentation with participants. Now there is lunch break till 2 p.m. Next session will start at 2.
My name is Sanyam Goel. I am advocate, company secretary in IP. Presently, I work in the field of IBC and Companies Act, representing the RPs in the NCLT and NCLAT. My major area of practice is the under whatever the issue comes under the IBC and operation mismanagement and corporate restructuring. Prior to the advent of IBC, I was into entry strategy into India, helping the multinational companies set up their base in India, whether by a private company or a liaison office or branch office. But now I started working in this IBC from June 2017, and now majority of my time goes into this. So today's topic is that has been assigned to me is a discussion with this August forum on delayed claim, which we also call as a belated claim. So I just share my screen. So screen is visible, sir, madam?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the brief session's objective. We would try to understand the legal framework governing the belated claims. What we are going to discuss in brief, actually what has happened from, there was a major amendment in the IBBI CIRP regulation from 18th September 2023. Most of us are aware of that. So I'll keep the discussion as practical and as brief as possible. So what we'll be discussing would be the legal framework briefly prior to the amendment of 18 September 23 and legal framework detail post the said amendment. I will also cover some judicial principles and case laws, analyze the roles and duties of the resolution professional when dealing with the belated claim, and discuss the practical treatment in ongoing CRP cases. I have collected one practical case where I advised the RP as the RP team member, and that issue of belated claim was handled by us before Honorable NCLT. I'll open that order on my screen a bit later during the presentation, and we'll discuss that. And we'll also identify some best practice and risk mitigation. When I say risk mitigation, the primarily would be the risk mitigation qua the RP. That what are the steps that we can take while dealing with the belated claim, what records we can keep, which prudent communication we can do, and so on and so forth. So that this will be the by and large the coverage of the presentation. So this is why belated claims are a practical challenge. As we all know, CIRP is a strictly time-bound process, and claims are often received after the issuance of public announcement, after when most of the claims have been collated and the COC has been formed, and when the belated claims are received. So it impacts the COC constitution, it impacts the voting right, and many of time it leads to the litigation. The belated claim also creates the issue in claim collation, COC composition, and even if now the amended regulations say to be collated even 7 days prior to the discussion on resolution plan. So it definitely affects the resolution plan's feasibility and viability, and it also affects post-resolution plan approval litigation. And of course, when there is a question of belated claim, how do we treat it? How do we handle it? There is a frequent litigation against the RP and IPs. So we'll be discussing that also. Now, what is a belated claim and why it is a problem? This is one issue. Though not defined in the code, in practice, a belated claim refers to a claim submitted after the last date mentioned in public announcement. Am I right? Anybody would like to give a definition? What could be other definition of belated claim? Anybody who's attending the seminar, please. Kiran madam is here. I just saw Rajshri madam.
Received post specified
Yes, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am.
claims that are received after the due date that is mentioned in CIRP, that is 30 days from the date of public announcement.
Yes. So by and large, you will also agree that the belated claim definition would refer after the last date mentioned in the public announcement. There could not be any other definition of a belated claim. And why does that delay arises? Now, this is a big issue which has been discussed in the before the honorable proceedings before the honorable NCLT, that most of the people who say that they have filed the belated claim, they take a excuse or they take a reason that there was a lack of awareness regarding initiation of the CIRP. So now this is an issue. This is a big issue for the RPs. This is a practical issue faced by the RPs, which I see, because the law simply provides that a public announcement has to be done by the RP in two newspaper, either at the registered office or at the place where the corporate debtor carries on his major business. Now, post publication of newspaper announcement, uh, if somebody is not aware of the does not become aware of the CIRP, that is a challenge. Now, to mitigate this challenge, a regulation was introduced by 6 capital A, where was a liability. I will rather open that 6 capital A here on the screen. Yes. Communication to the creditors. The IRP shall send a rather, now you see the difference here. The responsibility has been fastened upon the IRP. The word resolution professional is missing here. So why this distinction is important? Because the law requires the IRP, before he is confirmed as an RP in the first COC meeting, that he or she should undertake this exercise. It says the interim resolution professional shall send a communication along with copy of public announcement to all the creditors as per the latest available books of accounts. I'm sure all the experienced IRPs will like to jump to this question, that in many of the cases, if not all, these books of accounts are not available. Forget about the first 30 days, even at the end of the 300 days of a CIRP. Am I right, Vanita madam?
Absolutely right, sir.
Right, sir? Hiten, sir. So,
Yes, sir.
so forget about 30 days. The books of accounts will not be available for 300 days. So law has simply stated a requirement to all the creditors as to the last available books of accounts through post or electronic means, wherever the information for communication is available. So, but be that as it may, the law is there. So this law was introduced, as I believe, primarily to mitigate this issue, that the people were taking the first reason of filing a belated claim that they were not aware of the CIRP. So when as a CIRP is commenced, as an RP, we have to make this compliance of 6 capital A, because whenever a litigation will reach NCLT for regarding the belated claim, the first question from the tribunal that will come to the RP would be, have you done the compliance of 6 capital A? So what we are to do, that the best which RPs always try to do, try and fetch this information best from the suspended director, get the addresses, email or phone number if possible, and then send the communication. It's a painstaking exercise, that I agree, that I can agree. It's a painstaking exercise, but it has to be done what has to be done. So this is one thing which we can do to to tackle the reason when somebody says that there was a lack of awareness regarding the initiation of CIRP. Now, this reason delay in, I've kept only 3-4 bullet points. There could be numerous reasons for filing of a belated claim, but to keep the things simple and engaging, I've kept the bullet points as few as possible. Delay in obtaining internal approval. Now, to can anybody tell me, you can figure it out that which creditor will take this reason as the delay of for filing of a belated claim? That would be either, first of all, a bank or financial institution, and mostly this reason will be taken by a government authority. Now, change in management, particularly in government or statutory department, this is again a reason that concerned officer has left the post who was handling the file. This happens in the banks also, and the new officer who has come on the chair in place of that earlier officer, whether in the bank or in the government authority, and then he was not aware and he could not file the claim. this non-updation or delayed finalization of corporate debtors books of account, though not directly related to the claimant, that what he has to do with the corporate debtor books of account, but it does relate to the compliance of 6 capital A. If the books of accounts of corporate debtor are not ready, they will not be available to the RP. RP will not have the list of creditors to begin with, and the compliance of 6A will not be able, he will not be able to done, and it may result in the filing of the claim. Contingent on unascertained claim, this we will discuss at a later stage. This may give rise to some questions also. So we'll cover this, but by and large, the contingent or unascertained claims are arbitration, income tax or GST assessment, bank guarantees, or maybe some damage undergoing civil suit, or regulatory or environment authority placing some penalties on the corporate debtor during the course of CIRP. Those could be contingent or unascertained claims. Let us do a stage-wise classification and treatment of belated claims. Stage of CIRP, after the last date, but before COC constitution, the approach is liberal. Claims are often admitted. So even whether we discuss the position prior to the amendment of 18 September 23 or post amendment, if the stage of CIRP is this before the COC constitution, the legal approach has to be liberal and claims are often admitted. Now, what is the stage of CIRP? After COC constitution, but before approval of resolution plan. We have to be cautious. Why I say cautious? Because then by that time, the COC constitution has been crystallized. People have enjoyed, COC members have enjoyed their voting share. And after constitution and at the time of approval of resolution plan, majority of decisions have already been taken by the COC. So if we are admitting belated claim and we are amending the list of creditors consequently rather, so nobody would like to see their voting share going down. So the approach has to be very cautious because voting share may change, but legal process of admission is there. After COC approval of resolution plan, restricted claims generally extinguished. After NCLT approval of resolution plan, restricted claims extinguished. Now, if those who are attending the presentation, if you will see, when I say claims generally extinguished, and here I have removed the word claims extinguished. Hiteshji or anybody, would like to, throw some picture why this word generally could be missing in between these two stages. Although the law of the present law, as stated by Honorable Supreme Court in SR Steel, says that after COC approval, the claims will be extinguished. But why, somebody would, miss this word generally? Anybody, please. Whoever is attending, whatever, comes in your mind. Vanita ma'am or Hitenji? Himanshu sir would like to, Mr. Himanshu Kapadia ji, sir would like to say something on this. Sir, mute mein aap.
Sorry, sir. I have just joined. I'm late.
Okay, that's okay, sir.
What you said, I have not heard. So please
I'll just
tell me
repeat
again.
it. So I'm saying that we are discussing now the stages of CIRP, during which the belated claims are received. We have discussed 4 stages. Before COC constitution, the approach is liberal. Claims are often admitted, belated claim after going through the process. After COC constitution, but before resolution plan approval, our approach has to be cautious because by that time, some major decision in the CIRP have already been taken by the already constituted COC and nobody would like to see their voting share going down. So there could be dispute to that. After COC approval, legal approach is restricted, claims generally extinguished. After NCLT approval of resolution plan, claims extinguished. I am saying I have deliberately used this word generally here and removed the word generally here. Although as per the SR Steel judgment of Honorable Supreme Court, even after COC approval or resolution plan, no claim will survive once the plan has been approved by the COC. So I was just asking, as a part of engagement with each other. Because see, most of the IPs present here would be much more experienced than me. So I'm just trying to, making a point and would like to have a discussion. So sir, what could be the scenario why generally here but not generally here?
So my general observation or whatever experience I have, I can say is that, when the time limit is over, it's, as a IP or IRP, I will, not admit the claim, and I
Yes,
will request them to, approach NCLT. If at all the NCLT is giving any direction to admit, I will admit. Otherwise, I will not admit the claim after that, time window is over. So, uh,
yes, sir, that's
after
right.
the COC approval of resolution plan, so there is no question at all,
Yes,
unless
sir.
there is some deliberate attempt by the COC or RP, and if the NCLT directs that no, you should accept that claim, then it is a different story.
Right.
Otherwise, there is no issue. After COC approval of the resolution plan, nothing can be entertained,
That's right.
and yes. As I said, that if the NCLT gave a direction, uh, I think it is COC is also duty bound along with the IP that to admit the claim. This is
Right.
my
Absolutely, sir. I also totally agree with you. So why the
yeah.
word generally is missing here? Because until the NCLT approval to the resolution plan is there, as they say, that it is not over until the fat lady sings. So, and between these two stages, COC approval and NCLT approval, any claimant can approach the NCLT, take a direction, make its case, and still get the claim admitted, even if the law is there. So we have to, very cautious that it is a generally extinguished. We cannot say that there will be no claimant and whose case will not be heard even after COC approval. Although the law is very clear that after COC approval also the claim will stand extinguished. And nature-based classification of belated claim. So type of claim number one, the most belated claim which we see are from the statutory authorities, GST, income tax, EPFO claims. What we say, they are often filed belatedly, involve substantial amount, and may rise from a delayed assessment or audits. So this is a very general thing, nothing to be very complicated about it. Financial creditors, although the banks and NBFC and ARC, as soon as they become aware of the CRP process, they are very diligent in filing their claims. But still, in some public sector banks, or even in NBFCs or ARCs, sometimes people are not aware, or the person has changed, as I have stated earlier in the previous slide. So that could be the scenario that financial creditors also, due to internal approval, debt assignment, or restructuring, or lack of CRP awareness, there could be a reason that there is a belated claim. Employee workmen, again, one of the important but the regular category of the people who either file a belated claim or they file incomplete claim. They file the claim in the form of liquidation, or they just file a letter, or they give they don't append the sufficient documentary proof with their claim. That is that happen often with the employees and workmen. Contingent disputed claim and arbitration awards, that I have just touched briefly. So contingent and disputed claim, rather the arbitration award could also be a contingent claim, and there could be a few instances of contingent claim which was I was discussing earlier, is the arbitration claim, income tax, GST assessments, bank guarantee invocation, or there could be a civil suit running prior to CIRP which continues in the CIRP. There could be a claim arising out of that, and there could be environmental and regulatory penalties or corporate guarantee. So many of you, those senior RPs who have done these cases, I have a question here. What is the take of the experienced RPs on the bank guarantee invocation claim? This is a bit interesting. That if I may ask, that whether during the course of CIRP, a bank guarantee against the corporate debtor be invoked? Anybody, please?
To my limited knowledge, it can be invoked.
Yes, Anuradha madam. Yes, madam. And under madam, you are correct. Under which provision do you say so that it can be invoked? And please give me please give a little bit detail about it. If you have faced any example please share that example. If you have
I
any issue
think
in
the
the
bank is obliged to
That's right.
to keep its promise of the guarantee.
That's right, madam. And you have faced any such case in your any CIRP, ma'am?
Yes, once it was done.
Okay, what
And I
happened
was
in that?
panicked due to
Okay,
that.
okay. What happened?
I cannot elaborate actually.
Okay. So there was a bank who, there was a bank guarantee existing against the corporate debtor, and
Yeah.
bank invoked that guarantee.
No, the bank never invoked. The other person
Other
invoked, and
party
the
invoked,
bank
and bank honored that.
bank honored that.
Okay, I'll give the legal reason for this. I'll just again share the screen. If someone has missed this amendment, then this may help. Why I raise the particular question of bank guarantee? Because
Maybe it is in the mentioned in the moratorium itself.
that's right, madam. That's right. So section 14, subsection 3. This is section 14, moratorium, subsection 3. It says that provisions of subsection 1 shall not apply to such transaction or agreement or other arrangement as may be notified by the central government with any financial sector regulator. To my knowledge, it has not been specified. The main issue is this 14(3)(b), that the provisions of subsection 1 shall not apply to a surety in a contract of guarantee to a corporate debtor. So what you have said exactly, madam, that is the case, because now it has been said in the SBI versus Ramakrishna also that bank guarantee invocation does not fall under the provisions of section 14 subsection 1. So bank guarantee invocation is a separate contract between the bank guarantee provider, the bank guarantee receiver, and the bank itself. So if there is a case of invocation of bank guarantee, and I'm keeping it simple, there could be other complicated issue also. There could be the bank guarantee could be of different form, performance guarantee could be a form, financial guarantee could be a form. So I'm just keeping it simple based on this 14(3)(b), that if there is an invocation of bank guarantee by a third party due to the default made by the corporate debtor, the bank guarantee can be invoked and the protection of 14(1) is not available. And I'll discuss one thing. People will have a broad idea of this. Income tax, let's say about income tax assessment. First question that comes into mind is, can the income tax assessment continue during the CIRP? Most of you must be aware of answer to this question. Please, anybody.
Yes.
Yes. So correct. So income tax assessment can be continued during the CIRP. There is no doubt about that. The only thing is that if there is any order or that arises out that assessment, that order cannot be enforced. There could be no payment of that tax demand or tax penalty or anything that arises of that assessment order, but the assessment can be continue. But how it is relevant to our presentation of belated claim? It is relevant because the crux goes to the definition of the claim. We'll read that definition now, which is again in the Act. Subsection 6. Yes. Claim means a right to payment, whether or not such right is reduced to judgment, fixed, disputed, undisputed, legal, equitable, secured or unsecured. B. Right to remedy for breach of contract under any law for the time being in force, if such breach gives rise to the right to payment, whether or not such right is reduced to judgment, fixed, matured, unmatured, disputed, undisputed, secured or unsecured. So what I have seen more often than not, that we as an IPs, we take a very stringent position toward claim, that only the claim which seems to be payable at the date of insolvency commencement date or on the date it has been filed, that claim is the only claim which is liable to be admitted during CRP, which is not the case. Now, the example which I have taken about income tax assessment, even if the assessment was done prior to CIRP or even during the CIRP assessment was concluded, and that gave arise and a liability to a payment of tax arise due to that assessment, there the income tax department still have the right to file the claim under, and that definition comes to here: a right to payment, whether or not such right is reduced to judgment, fixed, disputed, undisputed, legal, equitable, secured, unsecured. Same position goes with an arbitration claim. Although the benefit of moratorium will be available in case of arbitration proceeding, no arbitration proceeding can continue against the corporate debtor due to section 14. But in case there is an arbitration award, a claim will still be existing even if it is disputed and under challenge before the Honorable High Court. So, my request to all the fellow IPs, senior IPs would be, whenever there is a kind of a claim that has come on your table in which the payment liability is not clearly visible, kindly refer to this definition of claim and whether see if it is still falling in any of the words which are mentioned in the law, is reduced to judgment, fixed, disputed, undisputed. It's even say disputed. So even if a claim is disputed, that is still a claim. How do we admit it? That's a different question. We admit it as a contingent liability. We give a rupee 1 treatment. We admit it as a provisional claim under regulation 14. That's a different thing. But a claim is there. The definition of claim is very wide. If it says it includes a disputed claim, then almost everything is a claim. We have to verify it and we have to be very, very cautious while admitting it. And even our duty becomes even more important when the claim is a belated claim. So by and large, we have covered this. Okay, statutory framework governing under the code. So the relevant provision under the code are section 15, public announcement, mandates invitation of claim, section 18(1)(b), RP to receive and collate all claims submitted. Everybody knows this. Emphasis on collation and not adjudication. Everybody is aware that RP is not an adjudicatory authority. This is important. The code, I mean, I'm differentiating the code from the regulation. When I'm say code, I'm talking about the sections, not the regulation. The code does not expressly bar belated claims. So we have to be very cautious of this. What is the difference of the law between the act and the regulation? Now, CRP regulation governing claims. We'll be discussing two position prior to amendment and after the amendment. When I say amendment, with effect from 18 September 2023. Regulation 6, public announcement. There is no change whether it is pre or post amendment. Regulation 6 continues to be the last date of submission of claim, that is 14 days from the date of appointment of the IRP. Regulation 12, submission of claim. We are discussing the pre-amendment prior to 18 September 2003 position. 12(1), claims to be submitted on or before the last date mentioned in the public announcement. Regulation 12(2), a creditor who fails to submit the claim with proof within the time stipulated in the public announcement may submit the claim with proof to the IRP or RP as the case may be on or before 90th day of the ICD. So prior to amendment, the time limit provided was the 90 days from the insolvency commencement date. So with the claimants could go beyond the last date of filing of claim in the public announcement, and up to 90th day they can file the claim. Post amendment, the regulation 12(1) still continues to be same. The claims to be submitted on or before the last date mentioned in the public announcement. However, a proviso has been added. Provided that a creditor who fails to submit claim with proof within the time stipulated in the public announcement may submit his claim with the proof to the IRP or the RP as the case may be. Now this is important. Earlier, it was on or before the 90th day of the ICD. Now it says up to the date of issue of RFRP under regulation 36B or 90 days from the ICD, whichever is later. So in the post amendment, this one line has been added up to the date of issuance of RFRP, which is bit later in the commencement of CIRP stage. We are all aware of this. Provided further that the creditor shall provide for reasons for delay in submitting the claim beyond the period of 90 days from the insolvency commencement date. Now, what interesting to note is that law provides that the creditor has to provide the reason of delay in submitting the claim beyond the period of 90 days from the ICD. The irony part is that there is no provision in the law, because as the RP has not been provided any adjudicatory power, that whether he has to accept that reason or not. How absurd it could be. Or what to do with the belated claim if no reason is provided by the claimant for filing the belated claim. Should we keep this hanging? Yes, Himanshu sir.
Basically, it's really a question mark, because
Yes.
one side we can say that, resolution professional are not the adjudicating officer.
Yes, sir.
And here they are saying that the reason for delay.
Ah,
So I think we have to take a wise judgment. If
yes.
our COC is also approving, and they don't object, to that extent we can say, okay, reason is accepted and we can admit the claim.
Yeah, because ultimately, when there is no power to analyze the reason, any reason is there is a valid reason. They simply say reason
Yes.
for delay, but we don't have any
Yes.
power to, adjudicate on that reason.
So if every such claim, if we refer to the NCLT, then
No.
then never come to an end.
Never come to
It
that.
is very difficult. So, we have to take a practical view.
That's
If
right.
we have to take consult and COC, and we admit the claim with the
Absolutely.
consent of COC.
We have to take a rather, I will say, sympathetic view. Okay, some person has filed a belated claim. Let us assume that he was not aware of the GRP, and let's move on. Let us shift our focus on the verification of the claim based on the documents and the proof which he or she has submitted. So regulation 13(1)(b). Okay. Yeah. Let's go a bit before we move to 13(1)(b). Okay, let us finish regulation 13(1)(b), then we'll discuss it later. Regulation 13(1)(b), verification of belated claim received after the last date under regulation 12(1) and up to 7 days prior to voting on the resolution plan or initiation of liquidation. So please see what I have seen, because this regulation falls under the chapter of CIRP. So most of us as IP tend to focus only on the voting of the resolution plan, although the language of regulation is like that: 7 days prior to voting on the resolution plan or initiation of liquidation also. So please give a proper attention to this. There could be a situation in a CIRP where no resolution plan is received, or the resolution plans are received but are rejected, and the resolution of liquidation is being considered. So there could be a belated claim at the time of prior post resolution plan stage but pre liquidation stage. So in that scenario also this regulation is applicable. We have to be very, very careful about that. Let us not restrict this regulation to the resolution plan stage. There could be the belated claim at the 7 days prior to the initiation of liquidation. I just wanted to draw the attention of everybody to this, because even we tend to, in our general work of CIRP, we tend to miss this kind of a fine print. So claims received after last date under regulation 12(1) and up to 7 days prior to voting or resolution plan or initiation of liquidation shall be verified and categorized as acceptable or non-acceptable by the IRP or RP. So this is the new position from 18 September 23. Now it will be almost 2.5 years. Prior to that, what was happening, if any claim was coming to the, why there was a need to introduce this kind of a regulation to stretch the belated claim duration up to 7 days prior to the voting or resolution plan or liquidation? Because what was happening, and RPs were rightful in doing so, prior to this amendment, whenever there was a belated claim which was coming beyond 90 days of commencement of insolvency, the RPs, we as RP were unable to verify it, and we had to simply tell the claimant that your claim is a belated claim, we cannot admit it. Then claimant goes to the NCLT, take a condonation of delay from honorable NCLT, and then his or her claim was admitted. So in order to mitigate that scene and to bring down the litigation volume, this amendment was introduced, and the last date was stretched, filing of belated claim even up to 7 days prior to voting or resolution plan. So much deeper into CIRP process. When belated claim is, So this is few points, although most of us must be doing it, but I found it prudent to write 4 or 5 points. Whenever there is a belated claim received by us, it will be, first of all, please do one thing: acknowledge the receipt of belated claim. Many of times I have heard when I was sitting in the NCLT or doing a litigation in NCLT, most of the claimants say कि हमको we did not receive any reply or acknowledgement from the RP. So whatever time we have to take in treatment of the belated claim, we have every right to take that time. The claimant has already come late to us, but please do make sure that you acknowledge that okay, we have received a belated claim, and under the amendment under the regulation 13(1)(b) and 13(1)(c), we are going to give the due treatment to the same. Verify the same, record the reasons for delay, check the proof of debt, check what is the impact on CIRP, including timeline, COC, deliberation, resolution plan, and most importantly, categorize the claim as acceptable and non-acceptable. Because the way, whatever manner we categorize, either acceptable or non-acceptable, the legal process and consequences are different. Okay. Now, this is fourth point. Whenever a belated claim is filed, intimate the creditor within 7 days of whenever we have categorized either as acceptable or non-acceptable. So we should intimate the claimant that we have found your claim as acceptable. When we say we have found your claim acceptable, of course, logically, no reason is to be required, because if it is acceptable, it is acceptable. But if we are categorizing the claim as non-acceptable, then please, I request, please provide reason, rather a detailed reason for non-acceptance of claim, because 99% chance is that matter, once we categorize the claim as non-acceptable, the matter is going to reach the Honorable NCLT, and then we have to explain there that what was the reason for claim being categorized as non-acceptable. So better reduce in writing and give it to the claimant properly in a detailed manner. For claims categorized as okay, if once the claim is categorized as non-acceptable, the duty of RP is over. We intimate the claimant that your claim is non-acceptable, then it is his or her call to take it to the Honorable NCLT or not to take it before the Honorable NCLT. For claims categorized as acceptable, place before the COC in its next meeting. Why I have highlighted? For recommendation for inclusion in the list of creditor and treatment in the resolution plan, if any. Submit the claim and, please give attention to the word and. So this is not or. Once you have obtained the recommendation of the COC for the inclusion in the list of creditor, treatment in the resolution plan, we have to submit the claim before adjudicating authority for condonation. So let us be very, very careful that COC has no power to condone the delay. Even prior to amendment, that power was not there with the COC. That power was with the Honorable NCLT. Post amendment of 18 September 23, still that power is with the Honorable NCLT. COC can only give its recommendation for inclusion and treatment in the resolution plan, and condonation has to be done by the Honorable NCLT. So there are two steps. One is the COC recommendation, and second is the condonation. And Honorable NCLT also has the power of adjudication. So now I highlighted these 3-4 things. One is the recommendation, another is treatment, and another is adjudication. I have framed 2-3 questions on this. I'll request that everybody who is attending this presentation, now we are into those 2-3 questions. Let us make it a bit interesting, because these
Sir,
are.
can I ask you one thing?
Yeah, madam, please.
You mean to say if the claim is belated, we have to submit as the status report of the claims, or we have to file for the condonation of delay?
Condonation, madam. Well, if the COC has recommended the inclusion of belated claim in the list of creditor, we prepare an application. We file it before the Honorable NCLT for 2 prayers. One is to condone the delay, condone the delay of the claimant in filing the claim, and 2, to take the amended list of creditors on record. If you will refer to the CIRP regulation, every time there is an amendment in the list of creditor, the list of creditor has to be filed before Honorable NCLT. So we do the compliance of that regulation also through this. That we take the approval for condonation of delay, and we do the compliance of that regulation also, where we place the amended list of creditor before the Honorable NCLT, and once the NCLT grants the approval, that amended list goes on the IBBI website.
Yes, means I wanted to just inquire that we are supposed to file condonation of delay along with that thing.
Yes, include one prayer. because then
Okay.
you will save your time and money
Yeah.
by not filing a separate application for amendment in the list of creditors.
It is mandatory.
Uh, I would say not mandatory, but madam, recommendatory, highly
Okay.
recommendatory.
Okay.
Because most of the orders, when the Honorable NCLT is delaying, condoning the delay, they are making a line and the amended list of creditors is taken on record. And that helps the
Okay.
RP a lot. Because once the Honorable NCLT has taken on record the amended list of creditor, then that authenticated list can go on the IBVI website.
Right.
Okay. So now I'll request the people who are attending, most of the, again, I am saying at the cost of repetition, most of our very experienced and must have handled fairly complicated cases, to give attention to these questions which I have faced. I have given my answer to these situations, but let us have an interaction. Let us see what everybody has to say about this. My first question, which I have framed, is the recommendation, the word recommendation which is used in regulation, is the recommendation by the COC positive or negative? Let us forget that. Positive or negative? Is by way of discussion or by way of voting? Because I have faced this situation where one of the COC member, or rather the belated claimant, vehemently opposed it. He was having the 2% stake in the CIRP, and once one of the member assigned a debt to him, somebody assigned a debt to him, and his voting went up to more than 60%. So he was vehemently opposing that voting, that the recommendation is by way of a discussion, not by way of voting. Yes, anybody, please.
By way of
Important
discussion.
question. Sorry, ma'am.
By way of discussion.
Okay, simply. So we put it before the COC, we discuss it and we take a recommendation. That's right. That's what you're saying, madam?
Yes.
Okay. And what about, madam, home buyers? Home buyers are plenty and they are represented by AR, and AR cannot give his personal recommendation.
Then
And
he will
situation would be
have to
different.
take the view of the home buyers.
Yes.
He's supposed to take the view of the home buyers.
Absolutely correct. And ma'am, one more situation, that let's suppose there are 5 financial institution as the COC member, no home buyer, only financial institution, banks and NBFCs. Three of them are present, 2 of them are not present, or 2 of them are present but they don't give their recommendation, and the regulation says, the voting regulation, that whosoever does not express his view, the e-voting has to be open for that. Well, first let us take the scenario that out of 5, 3 are present, 2 are not present. Then how this recommendation will be obtained from the COC? सर काफी एक्सपीरियंस्ड आईपीज हैं, प्लीज थोड़ा सा प्रकाश डालिए इस बात पर. वी विल ऑल्सो लर्न समथिंग. किरण मार्टिन गोला मैडम है, हाईली एक्सपीरियंस सीआरपी है. अभी मैं देख रहा था अरविंद गोडाना जी भी थे फ्रॉम गुजरात. एनीबडी प्लीज.
सर मैटर तो पहले बता ही दिया होगा ना, तो
हाँ वो तो नोटिस में जाएगा, बट
जाएगा.
my view is that this recommendation, COC, any decision, whether it is recommendation or anything, it cannot be by simply by way of discussion. It will be much more prudent for us to get the voting done either in the COC itself if everybody is present. If everybody is not present, then let us do the e-voting on this scenario and take a recommendation for inclusion in the list of creditors and treatment in the resolution plan. Because treatment in the resolution plan is again a very tricky scenario. If COC now my next question is, if the COC recommends negatively on a matter of condemnation or delay or inclusion of claim, is the resolution professional still required to approach the Honorable NCLT? Or does the negative recommendation of COC conclude the issue? We have, okay, let us forget whether it is by discussion or voting. Let us say we did it by voting. We try to obtain the recommendation of the COC by way of voting, and it comes out negative. He says, no, please don't include this claimant in the list of creditor. Our recommendation negative. Now what should RP do? Leave it as it is?
No.
Okay, ma'am. Please tell
He
me.
has to approach Honorable NCLT.
Right. And what I agree with you. What makes you say so, madam? I'm totally with you on this.
He just can't go by the whims and fancies of the COC in this matter.
Right. So, madam, so then actually our first point comes into picture. Better to take the recommendation by way of voting so that you have the record in writing actually what everybody was recommending on the inclusion or non-inclusion. So I'm with you. Once if the recommendation of the COC is negative for inclusion in the list of creditor, please use this provision of adjudication. Now, we as an IP, it is my recommendation, my personal recommendation. We file an application for condonation of delay. We put all the circumstances before the honorable NCLT. This date the claim was received. This date I found it acceptable and intimated the claimant. And this date we put it up for the voting before COC for recommendation. The recommendation of COC unfortunately came out to be negative. And but since the claim is domain of the RP and it has been found acceptable, so we leave it now to the honorable adjudicating authority to adjudicate the matter. So please use this provision. Don't leave the claimant, any belated claimant, high and dry, because in any case he is also not the party to this entire process. Unless the belated claim is duly admitted, that belated claimant cannot even participate in any of the process. So he is primarily relying on us. On the issue of treatment in the plan, question 1. It is for COC to decide, or should the resolution applicant be involved in deciding the treatment in the plan? Very, very important. I have also got a bit confused earlier when this situation arose in one of our cases, that okay, we have put the belated claim of a financial institution, public financial institution, before the COC, and that admission of that claim was, first of all, was substantially changing the voting rights of the existing COC members. So they were a bit reluctant in giving the positive recommendation, whether by way of discussion or by way of voting. And now the question which we raised to the COC, you say that you are getting an X treatment and this is a belated claimant. So let us, treatment should be Y in the resolution plan. So the question is, should not the resolution applicant whose plan is being considered, that resolution applicant be included in this discussion for treatment in the plan? Instead of COC simply recommending it, because plan is given by the resolution applicant, not by the COC. सर कोई तो बोले प्लीज, इतने एक्सपीरियंस
सर मेरे ख्याल में तो
जी
सीओसी का रिकमेंडेशन इज इम्पोर्टेंट.
हाँ,
Resolution applicant has to give certain amount and has to distribute between whatever the COC is existing, whatever the creditors are existing, not actually COC.
let us take an example. So the resolution plan value is 100 crore for 5 financial creditors, and suddenly there is a belated claim of 6 financial creditor. If the same treatment is provided to the financial creditor, that the treatment which was being given to the 5 financial creditors, the resolution plan may increase by way of 10 crore or 20 crore. Now the value will become 120 crore. So should not it, is it mandatory on the RA to accept that recommendation, or he should be part of the discussion?
Now with what you are saying, I think that RA should come
Yes.
into picture.
So basically, again, as an RP, we have to be very, very careful when we are dealing with the one part is recommendation. Okay, recommendation is positive. Now, when it will come to the treatment in the resolution plan, then we have to be very careful that how it is going to affect the resolution plan. I believe, first of all, a discussion should take place internally, inter se, between the COC and the RP. And if there is a significant impact coming on the resolution plan, better involve the RA in this, considering the stage of the resolution plan, and then take the amendment in the resolution plan. Because ultimately, amendment in the plan is the prerogative of the resolution applicant. He may say, you have included this financial creditor in the COC, you have increased his voting right, I have no issue. But in any case, my total resolution plan value will not exceed 100 crore. Whether the COC members are 5 or they are 6 or 7. So the proportionately everybody's share may get reduced. And there could be a dispute.
But this does not hamper the procedure of taking that claim, accepting that claim.
Yeah, it should not hamper that. If you have found it as acceptable, your duty is to file the condonation of delay application. but the discussion with the COC in two parts. One is for recommendation of acceptable claim, and another is the treatment in the resolution plan. Okay. So question 2 is we have already covered in our discussion. What if the treatment provided to belated claim is less beneficial as compared to the other COC member, and does the belated claimant have any say in the process? As far as the belated claimant is, I am concerned, I don't think he has any say in that, because he is not part of the COC until his or her claim is accepted. So by and large, that claimant is on our mercy, and we have to be very careful while dealing with this claim. Now I am on the issue of condonation of delay. Question 1, rather this is the only question. In a scenario where Honorable NCLT refuses to condone the delay in filing a claim, so what is the scene? That we have received a belated claim. We have found that claim to be acceptable, categorized as acceptable. We have filed an application before the Honorable NCLT for condonation of delay. And now the Honorable NCLT is refusing to condone the delay in filing a claim for whatever reason. Now, my question to this August forum is, who has the locus to prefer an appeal before Honorable NCLT? The RP or the concerned creditor or claimant whose claim is rejected? सर कोई भी डिस्कशन में पार्ट नहीं ले रहा है, थोड़ा सा तो पार्ट लीजिए. आई एम श्योर आप लोग सुन रहे होंगे.
Sir, it
Can you
can be
speak
both
again?
ways, na?
Sorry,
Even
sir?
the
Can
RP
you
can
speak
also
again?
go, but the ideal situation is that the creditor should go.
ओके, जस्ट अ मिनट मैम. सर को मैं एक बार पूछ रहे हैं. सर, आई एम सेइंग दैट द ओवरऑल सिनारियो इज वी रिसीव्ड अ बिलेटेड क्लेम एज एन आरपी. We verified it, we categorized it as acceptable, and we file an application before the Honorable NCLT for condonation of delay as mandated by the regulation 13(1)(b) and 13(1)(c). But Honorable NCLT, for any reason, has refused to condone the delay, and they have rejected our application. Now, who has to go before the Honorable NCLT? Is it the RP, or should the concerned claimant should go before the Honorable NCLT?
Concerned applicant.
Concerned applicant. But until his Babulalji, my question would be, until that claimant claim has been accepted, he or she is not the part of the CIRP process. He or she will not even come to know that which IA we have provided unless we make him a party. And we as an RP, when we file the condonation of delay application, we don't make the belated claimants as the party. So what locus will he have to go to NCLT if that claimant was not even the party to the condonation of delay application? Anybody? This situation can arise in any CIRP in any claim. Let us be very aware on this. Anyone,
because the
please.
application was made by the RP only, so he can only go for the appeal against the order of the NCLT.
Yes, that I agree, but only dilemma before me as an RP is that I have done my duty and I am not prejudiced by this order. Most of the time, as an RP, we file appeal before Honorable NCLT either against an application which was filed by us for asserting our right as an RP in something, for example, CRP cost application. And since it has been rejected, so we are prejudiced and we go to Honorable NCLT. Or there was something filed by RP on behalf of the COC that has been rejected by the Honorable NCLT and we go to NCLT. Here we have filed an application for a person who is not even the part of the CRP process as of now, and that application has been rejected. So there could be a question that what is the locus of the RP to file this application. But you are correct. In the scenario, ultimately it is incumbent on the RP to file this appeal before Honorable NCLAT. But I'm not sure what situation would be. So let us see when this situation arises. We have to be very,
सर
very
लेकिन
careful
इस
about
केस
this.
में वो क्रेडिटर है,
जी.
वो अपने आप को इम्पीड नहीं कर सकता उस एप्लीकेशन में,
कर
क्योंकि
सकता है मैम.
अल्टीमेटली हिज राइट्स विल बी इफेक्टेड.
कर सकता है. I have not seen anybody doing that impediment, but he can. और जो मैं अभी एक केस लॉ डिस्कस भी करूंगा अगले स्लाइड में. So there the creditor whose belated claim was considered, he indeed filed an impediment application and it affected the entire process.
तो सर इस केस में कैसे करेंगे, मतलब ऑर्डर आ गया एनसीएलटी का, तो
जी.
उसके बाद इम्पीचमेंट कहाँ पे होगा, मतलब
उसके बाद
आरपी ने
इम्प्लीटमेंट नहीं
नहीं
होगा
किया
मैडम.
एनक्लैट में.
नहीं, उसके बाद इम्प्लीटमेंट नहीं होगा. उसके बाद इम्प्लीटमेंट तो एनक्लैट में ही होगा जब आरपी विल फाइल एन अपील अगेंस्ट दैट
और
ऑर्डर.
इफ आरपी इज नॉट फाइलिंग.
If RP is not filing, then you have to intimate the claimant. I believe then he will have to file an intervention application before NCLT, independent application, that see my claim was found to be acceptable. You have rejected it. I am not filing an application for recall or revision of the order. I am just filing a fresh application. Please condone the delay of my claim. So that would be an independent application. If I am the advocate of that claimant, I will suggest so that you file an independent
क्योंकि
application.
एट द एंड ऑफ द डे ऑल दीज एप्लीकेशंस आर सपोर्टेड बाय द सीओसी, कॉस्ट ऑफ ऑल दीज एप्लीकेशंस, एंड
Yes.
दे माइट नॉट एग्री कि भाई व्हेन द
आप
एनसीएलटी हैज
NCLT में
गिवन द
जाओ.
ऑर्डर तो यू माइट नॉट गो देयर.
That's right, madam. That's right. Absolutely right. But that we have to intimate the situation to the claimant so that claimant can discuss with his counsel and assert his right.
And that means that is a better way.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Practical example. So this case is World Window Estate Private Limited. So we dealt with this condonation of delay claim in that. I was acting as the team member of the RP, legal counsel. So this was the order. The IA number was 6067/2024. Very first of all, this IA was our IA for condonation of delay. The findings and analysis I will discuss in brief. The claim by Prudent ARC Limited acting in capacity of so and so was filed after the timeline specified under Regulation 12(1) of the CIRP regulation. However, with the issuance of notification dated 18 September 23, Regulation 13(1)(b) and 13(1)(c) of the CIRP regulations were inserted. Then the Honorable NCLT discusses the regulation. The combined effect of these provisions empowers the RP to entertain claim received beyond the initial period, but up to 7 days before the key decision-making events in the CIRP. The RP must verify these claims, categorize them as acceptable or non-acceptable, and seek the COC recommendation regarding their inclusion in the list of creditors. In the present case, the RP has verified the claim submitted by Prudent ARC Limited and categorized it as acceptable. The claim was placed before the COC in its 7th meeting held on so and so date, where its inclusion in the list of creditors was approved by the COC. So see, here there was voting done. The vote were approved with the voting share of 66.48%. So, and this approval reflects the collective decision of creditors to recognize the claim as valid. So this brings me to my earlier point that when we are taking the recommendation of the COC, that recommendation has to be done by way of a voting. Otherwise, by way of discussion, we will never be able to, or it will be very difficult for us to convince the Honorable NCLT, yes, that recommendation was positive, unless a e-voting is there. So my recommendation to the RPs would be, whom I am dealing with, is that please do a voting on this scenario. There cannot be a discussion based recommendation. It should be done by voting, and in this case it was done by voting, and it is recognized by the Honorable NCLT. So ultimately, the adjudicating authority finds that following application is interest of justice and fairness, ensuring the equitable treatment of the creditors. Now, what is interesting, what just Anuradha madam was asking for the impleadment, the Prudent ARC was a impleader in this. And what was their prayer? Let us see their 3 prayers. Direct the R1, being the RP, to extend the timeline for submission of resolution plan by 2 weeks after the claim amount is formally admitted and the applicant voting share is accordingly increased in the COC. Direct the respondent number 1 to admit the applicant's claim with immediate effect and without any further delay. Direct the respondents. Now this is important. Arvind ji, आपका वो हो रहा है, म्यूट कर देता हूं. Direct the respondents to not conduct any further meetings till the disposition of the present application. And in any case, any COC meeting is to be convened. Direct that no major business decision related to submission of resolution plan or any other decision that would cause material adverse effect to the right of applicant shall be taken by the respondents. So this was the prayer. Now let us see the decision. The Honorable NCLT says, as regards prayer 1 and 2, which was regarding the stay, the RP is hereby directed to maintain a status quo until the direction issued by this adjudicating authority in IA 6067, which was the uh, uh, application by the IA RP for condonation of delay. Dated is duly complied with by the resolution professional. The resolution professional is further directed to take all necessary steps in accordance with the provisions of the IBC and the regulation framed thereunder, ensuring that the rights and interests of all stakeholders are duly safeguarded and no prejudice is caused. Right? So what I am trying to say by showing this practical case is that belated claim may have a significant impact on the ongoing CRP process, and there could be a scenario that the entire CRP process may be put to halt because of one belated claim. So this is not a regular, although it's a regular process of acceptance and procedure of belated claim, but then we have to be very, very careful. There could be a circumstances that ultimately entire process is put to jeopardy. So we have to be, again, I'd say, very, very careful when we are dealing with the belated claim scenario. Some judicial principles governing the treatment of belated claim at a glance. So clean state doctrine, already SR Steele and Ghanshyam Mishra, we are all aware that resolution applicant cannot be burdened with unknown or undecided past liabilities. Asral Mittal, timelines are core. Timelines are insolvency process, and delay defeats its objective. Indefinite admission of belated claim is discouraged to preserve the CRP discipline. Commercial wisdom of COC. So this commercial wisdom of COC will again come into picture when there is a recommendation of the COC which is negative, but RP still files an application before Honorable NCLT that my recommendation was acceptable. COC in its wisdom has said that we are not recommending it inclusion of the list of creditor. So someone from the side of COC can say it's a commercial wisdom of COC. I don't agree with that. Everywhere this plea of commercial wisdom of COC cannot be taken. If the claim verification and collation is the domain of the RP, if RP has found a claim as acceptable, unless there are some very, very adverse circumstances which are to be recorded in writing by the COC, the recommendation should not be negative from the side of COC. Impact on resolution applicants, if not handled appropriately, financial assumptions underlying plan may be disrupted. As I was just giving this example of World Window Estate, so belated claim, if not handled properly, it could have resulted in a scenario that the resolution plan could have been hanging for a very late. Or if we are not dealing with the belated claim properly and the resolution plan is approved, then that claimant can intervene and hamper the process of implementation of the resolution plan, and there could be a prolonged litigation. So we have to be very, very careful when we are dealing with the belated claim, as it will have the impact on the resolution applicants as well. Best practices for the insolvency professional. This is my recommendation based on my experience. There should be clear public announcement, and we should maintain the documentation of public announcement. Please keep the original newspaper cuttings with you always, all the time. That may come handy during any proceeding before Honorable NCLT. Individual intimation wherever possible. We discussed this regulation 16 capital A in the beginning of the presentation, that regulation 6 capital A compliance has to be done by the IRP, not even RP. So wherever possible, please send the intimation to the creditors. Like, for example, even if the books of accounts are not made available to us, we can find out the income tax department jurisdiction, we can find out the GST department jurisdiction, EPFO jurisdiction, wherever the registered office of the corporate debtor is situated. At least send an intimation to those government departments under 6 capital A for filing of their claim, because most of the time the belated claim scenario comes from the government departments only, and then it leads to litigation against the RP or the resolution applicants. This is very, very important. Whatever is your reason for admitting or rejecting the late claim, or most important is the rejecting the late claims. When you say we have found them as non-acceptable, please record that reason in detail. place it before the COC during a meeting, minutize it, and do intimate the same in a detailed and proper and timely manner to the claimant who has filed a belated claim, so that whatever his or her rights, they can exercise that freely.
Sir, here I have a practical query.
Please, madam.
In case of CIRP, we can do it like submitting before COC. How we will do it in case of voluntary liquidation?
But madam, these regulations of treatment of belated claim, they are limited to CIRP, no? 13(1)(b) and 13(1)(c). This is not even applicable to the voluntary liquidation scenario.
So in that case means belated claims are straightway rejectable in voluntary liquidation.
Voluntary liquidation, ma'am, it's a very good question, I would say. And I don't remember offhand what are the provisions in the for treatment of belated claim in voluntary liquidation. I will also need to check that. But
my query particularly came because of
yes,
your mention of government claims.
Yes.
Because in normal though we can deal with, but particularly if belated claims are from government department, how we will treat them in case of voluntary liquidation?
Okay, this I'll try to answer this as much as possible based on my experience.
Yes,
liquidation scenario, madam, the RP, the liquidator has adjudicatory powers, which power is not available to the resolution professional during the CIRP process. So if unless there is a regulation which I am not aware of treatment of belated claim in voluntary liquidation regulation issued by the IBBI, if there is a now what do you say belated claim in the voluntary liquidation scenario? You say after the date of public announcement?
After the date that is mentioned in the public announcement.
Yeah, unless I think there is no particular treatment provided in the voluntary liquidation regulation for belated claim, which I believe it is not there. So the claim has to be rejected by the RP, and then claimant can go to Honorable NCLT for adjudication or condonation of delay.
So in that case, sir, how practically such things happens? Like if NCLT allows such claim to be considered by a liquidator, then liquidator will have to accept that only
Yes,
on the
ma'am.
order of NCLT.
It will also depend on the stage of liquidation. If the assets are already liquidated and distributed, then nothing will happen to that claim.
So we
because
will have
no
to
money
just
will be left for payment.
In that case, we will have to just file reply with NCLT.
Yes, yes.
Assets are distributed.
That because I remember during the year 2017, when I was appearing before Honorable NCLT, there is a judgment there in the liquidation only, that when there is a position of no return, they called it as a position of no return during liquidation, that once the assets have been liquidated and distributed, that is a position of no return during the process. And even if the claim is admitted, then nothing can be done to that claim. So that claim was totally rejected in the liquidation process. So as I said, unless there is something specific in the voluntary liquidation regulation for treatment of belated claim, if there is a belated claim beyond the public announcement date, it has to be rejected. And if the time permits and there is the position of no return in the liquidation process, the claimant will have to approach the Honorable NCLT.
Okay. Got it, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, and as I said, I was saying rejecting whatever are your reasons, please record them in detail in writing, by email, by putting them before the COC, minutizing them properly, and always inform the COC and obtain COC approval ratification where impact exists. Avoid arbitrary decision, though it is a very, very subjective term, but this often comes during the NCLT proceeding against the IPs, that IP acted arbitrary, RP acted arbitrary. So as far as possible, try to keep your decision fair and independent, and from where that fair and independence will come into picture, when we record our reason for acceptance and specifically for rejection detailed in writing, and we intimate them properly in time to the claimant, then only we will say we have not acted in an arbitrary manner. And record everything in CRP file. That goes without saying. Whatever the documents you have received, claim form, your communication, everything should be properly maintained. Then you never know when they come handy and you have to use in an NCLT proceedings.
Sir, what do you mean by CRP file?
Madam, nothing particular. I'm not saying physical file. Your folder could be a CRP file. My simple thing when I say it CRP file is that you keep a record with yourself,
Okay.
especially of the
I
rejected
thought
claim.
you were saying like the kind of progress report we sent
No,
to
no, no,
the
no.
AA,
Your
that
own
progress
record.
report.
Your on record in your office. That it should be properly maintained, and whenever a need arises, we should not run from pole to pole for digging out that information. Those information should be kept handy. Like for example, uh, if you have sent a email for rejection of claim with detailed reason, please make a PDF of that claim and save it in the folder where you have saved the claim form of that claimant. So tomorrow when the need arises, you will not need to run through the hundreds of email from your email ID, and it will be handy. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So key takeaway, belated claims are legally permissible but not automatic. So we have discussed in detail the process of treatment of belated claim post amendment of 18 September 2023. The process for treatment of belated claim is there. It is not automatic. We have to verify, collate. We have to categorize them acceptable, non-acceptable. And if we found them acceptable, we have to file an application before honorable adjudicating authority for condonation of delay. So that detailed process has to be followed. Regulation 12, read with 13(1)(b) and 13(1)(c) governs the admissibility and treatment of belated claim, and it affects the finalization of approved resolution plan, which is untouchable. RP must balance fairness with process and discipline, and documentation is the strongest defense. I was just saying it earlier. Whatever is your documentation, whatever are your reason, please record them in detail, maintain a proper record, keep those record handy, because as soon as we reject somebody's claim and categorize it as non-acceptable, 99.9% of time that matter will land before NCLT, and then we will have to justify our reasons. Thank you. Short presentation. I don't think so even 3 hours were required for discussion on treatment of belated claim, as the regulations were quite short, simple, and straightforward. I have tried to explain it in as detail as possible. I'm here for any questions, because we have a lot of time remain in this session. Anybody, please?
Any interesting takeaways from the cases you were involved in?
Yes, madam. One case I have already discussed. Ultimately, effectively the honorable NCLT order was that we have to stay the CIRP and not to proceed for the resolution plan until that claimant's claim was duly admitted, reflected, and voting share has been assigned to him. So the practical impact of that order was that you please admit that claimant's claim, give him voting right, and that claimant must vote on the resolution plan. That was the entire impact of that decision of the Honorable NCLT. Another takeaway was that even one issue which keep on arising before me, and on which there is no regulation, not sufficient attention has been given, is the at the time of implementation of the plan. There are claims when the plan has been fully implemented, everybody has received their payment, the asset has been handed over the RA, they start reviving the asset. Still, some claims can arise. You won't believe that but it can come. I have seen a claim even as far as back some 90s land acquisition claim arose when the plan was 6-8 months, when the plan was fully implemented and the land was the property asset was under development. So the belated claim, there is no limit up to what date it can arise. But of course, now the law has put a limit that 7 days prior to the discussion on resolution plan or liquidation. So that is the statutory time limit still. So there is no time limit on up to what stage the belated claims can arise. And if they arise up to 7 days prior to the resolution plan, the treatment has been provided in 13(1)(b) and 13(1)(c). Yes, please.
Sir, I have a practical query. Like
Yes,
as you
ma'am.
told ki like in case of belated claims, and when IP rejects such claims, 99% they go to NCLT. So there we have to appear and just submit our point why we have rejected the claim,
Yes,
or
ma'am.
only that.
Yes, only that.
It will
And
be kind hearing kind of thing, or like what?
it will be a hearing. It will be a proper hearing. And first of all, the first question which I believe will come from the bench would be that whether you intimated the reason of rejection to the concerned claimant or not. That is why I was insisting on this, that if we are categorizing somebody's claim as non-acceptable, the detailed reason should be recorded in writing, and those detailed reason should be intimated to the claimant. And that detailed reason will be presented before the Honorable NCLT. If Honorable NCLT accepts it or not, that's a different question. But it will be a proper litigation.
It will be a proper litigation.
Yes,
Such
undoubtedly.
things get resolved in single hearing, or it takes many hearings, sir?
Now, madam, for proceeding before a tribunal, it is very difficult to say that what will be resolved in one hearing. But mostly, if it's a claim rejection, it will depend on the complexity of the rejection of the claim. It may take a couple of hearings.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir.
Except for progress report, I have not seen anything getting resolved in one hearing,
Okay.
or hardly anything.
Even
Arvind ji,
final
Sir,
reports also.
got on
I
a
have
sir?
one question. Sir, I have one question that if there was a status quo on the Celtec dues by High Court and the time is expired, if the extension is not taken from NCLT, but High Court has granted extension, what is your view on this?
एक बार थोड़ा सा फिर से एक्सप्लेन करें, हाई कोर्ट ने क्या एक्सटेंशन ग्रांट करी अरविंद जी?
High Court stayed the further processing of the CRP or liquidation, and
Okay.
High Court has granted a stay for liquidation, and High Court has also granted extension in their order. Wednesday.
Extension for what?
For CRP, liquidation. Liquidation.
Arvind ji,
Now, is it necessary to approach NCLT also that to get the extension, though the time is over?
Arvind ji, isn't there a particular section in the IBC which says that the civil courts have no jurisdiction in the IBC matter? And the extension.
I know, but High Court has granted status quo.
High Court has granted status quo until when?
The Celtec department.
What was the issue before the High Court, Arvind ji?
Celtec, I rejected the claim of the Celtec department.
Okay. And they went into a writ.
It was time barred, and then NCLT also rejected.
Okay.
We filed a writ in the High Court.
Okay.
High Court stayed the entire proceeding of
Okay.
liquidation.
So
Then
final
after 1.5
decision has
years or
come.
2 years, after 2 years, they disposed of the matter with some permission. But in that order, they have granted extension also.
In that order, they have accepted the claim of the claimant and they have granted the extension.
They have not accepted the claim,
Okay.
but they allowed me to receive the payment from the successful buyer and keep it in the High Court.
Okay.
And extension is granted. Now, I have to go to NCLT for extension, actually speaking.
Strictly speaking, see, either you could have approached the Supreme Court that earlier itself, when the status quo was granted, you could have approached the Honorable Supreme Court that High Court has no jurisdiction to grant status quo in this matter of IBC. If that was not done,
you know that Swiss ribbon case is pending in Supreme Court also.
Oh, sir, new to many cases are pending in Supreme Court.
So that one of the cases is mine. Okay. Now, my question is whether I need to approach NCLT also to grant me extension.
I'm sure you have to approach before the NCLT, because ultimately the jurisdiction to grant an extension to extend the process, the liquidation lies with Honorable NCLT only. So earlier when they have rejected and in a writ it has come, that process has been extended by a constitutional court. So that I believe now Honorable NCLT is also bound by that.
Okay, so
either we challenge that order before Supreme Court. If we don't do that, then everybody is bound by that order.
Yes, sir. Okay, so I have to go to NCLT with the background of the High Court.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Anybody else, please? Anything which I can assist with my limited experience? Okay. Okay. Anybody from ICSI, IIP?
Yes, sir.
Madam, anybody from ICSI, IIP?
Yes, sir. Speaking.
Yeah. Ma'am, so I have completed my presentation. And I don't think so anybody has any further question. So can we conclude this session, please?
Sure, sir. Sure. We can conclude the session.
Ma'am,
Thank you
will
very much,
we
sir.
get the PPTs first of all, and secondly, when will
Yes,
we get the
yes, ma'am. I will
certificates?
share the same on the email with the CP confirmation mail.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll send the PPT to the ICSI IP. You can have that PPT.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm just dropping one email. You can reply on that.
Okay,
And the
ma'am.
certificate also, ma'am.
Yes, yes, ma'am. I will share it.
Right. Thank you. Thank you very much for
Thank you
your
very much,
patient
sir,
hearing. I hope
for giving your
I have
valuable
justified my
time
time.
and sharing your knowledge.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
Thank
so
For the
much.
practical session, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
It
Thank you,
was a
sir.
practical session and we thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Thank you very much, sir.